Alrighty, welcome to episode 156 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla has gained nearly 149 million euros in EU funding to install or upgrade up to 7,000 superchargers across Europe to its latest version 4 units. Elon Musk has raised the possibility of an optional tungsten carbide coating for the Cybertruck stainless steel body panels, rendering it unscratchable to all materials other than diamond. Tesla is now offering a service centre installed parcel shelf retrofit for older versions of Model Y, which up to the last couple of months have lacked the much desired accessory. The cost of the upgrade is $650 including installation. Tesla has produced its 5 millionth car, a Highland Model 3, which rolled out of its Shanghai Gigafactory. Although it took Tesla 12 years to produce its 1 millionth car, it only took 6 months to build an incremental million since producing its 4 millionth car in March this year. After many months of Western Power-induced delays, the WA EV Network 150 kilowatt Kempower fast DC charger site in Jurien Bay was finally commissioned by Synergy this week. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and welcome everyone. All right, thank you. As is customary, if there is anyone who is new and is comfortable in doing so, please do unmute and say hello and introduce yourselves to us. Or perhaps a little bit later, which is totally cool too. Alrighty, so I think the best bit of news was the last item, which was the fact that the Jurien Bay fast DC charger is now online. And the great thing about that is that it basically bisects the route between Perth and Geraldton, which means that, look, even some of the low-range non-Tesla EVs can easily make it to Kalbarri by basically, well, you can even top up at Lancelin if you want to, but you can go straight to Jurien Bay. It's about 200 k's from Perth, and then go from Jurien Bay to Geraldton, which is about another 200 k's. And then I think Kalbarri is only 130 k's from Geraldton, so it makes the Kalbarri trip this school holidays, even in some of the more basic EVs, really doable. So congratulations to Synergy for commissioning it on Monday about lunchtime, and a belated congratulations to Western Power for finally doing something you should have done about 5 months ago. But anyway, enough of that. Any other bits of news or comments or even any questions, perhaps, for this week?
I'm just wondering if you can get as much out of your wallet as you can your car. Did you arrive somewhere with 0% in 2 kilometres? I thought that was quite astounding. How'd you know you had 2 kilometres left?
Well, the car said so.
Okay,
so
that's
that
what I
was,
thought.
because when I took the photo, you can if you press on the distance where your battery thing is in the upper sort of middle upper of the screen, you can switch it from between kilometers and percentage. So I guess when I took the photo, I sort of like took it with the 0% because that looks a little bit more dramatic than 2 kilometers. Although I did reply to that tweet and said, oh, it wasn't as bad as it looks. I did have 2 k's. I think that was when I got into Port
Was it
Hedland.
Broome? Oh,
No, I think it was Port Hedland.
Okay.
And yeah, look, to be honest, when you're road tripping and you don't have DC charging, well, put it this way, if you've got fast DC charging and you want to get like an extra 50 kilometers of confidence, that takes 5 minutes. So in 5 minutes of longer charging, you'll get an extra 50 k's. But in 5 minutes of AC charging, you won't even get 5 k's.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and I wanted to sort of, you got to play this game of how long do I keep charging and therefore burning down daylight, as opposed to what speed can I do. So you're always playing this game of charging speed versus driving speed and all that guff. And yeah, it's just one of those things you play. And when you get used to it, look, I just feather my speed until I sort of like run the glide slope to empty the battery. And as it turns out, I think I was doing about 100 k's an hour towards the end. And believe it or not, I saw a full-size cow less than 5 k's from the hotel, uh, the Walkabout Hotel at outside of Port Hedland, 5 kilometres from the major town, and you've got
Wow.
these four trailer semi-trailers with iron ore in them, zooming past at 80 k's an hour.
They're
And
called quads.
the quads. And I mean, the number of them is just astounding. Like they're just running, I don't know, every few minutes in either direction. It's almost like a train of them, really. And yeah, to see a cow right on the side of the road, it was anyway. But I mean, I've seen everything, and I'd have to like look at the list I wrote. But it was every animal you can imagine. I've seen it. Um, but yeah, so the 2Ks, I did the same thing. I think some other place I was about 7Ks. You just ride the glide slope, and you just got to get used to it. You just trust that the car projects what it's projecting. And if you fall a bit short, you just slow down. And if you've got a bit more than you think you needed, you can just speed up, obviously to the speed limit. So
And you did the impossible again from Tennant Creek, or from Camberwell to Tennant Creek. That was fantastic. I thought that was good.
I betted my previous best, which I think was 471 k's between Tennant Creek and Camberwell. So I did it from Camberwell to Tennant Creek. But I actually, and I think I said this last week, I actually booked into the hotel, checked into the hotel first before at the bottom part of Tennant Creek before going back to the top part to go to a cafe which was run by a gentleman, owned and run by a gentleman called Michael. And I don't know if it's his brother-in-law or some sort of relative, Richard was the guy that actually saved me in Tennant Creek with my Model X, where I actually charged at his Red Rooster when the kind manager unplugged one of the fat fryers, and I got the extension cord and ran it under the sort of like the service bench into the drive-through, out of the drive-through window, and where my car was parked. So
Fantastic,
yeah,
isn't
it was great.
Fabulous run. I think credit to you. It's brilliant.
It was. Oh, Nigel, you're going to ask me something. I forget what it was.
When are you going on your 4th round Australia trip? You've done 3 now.
Nigel, let him take a breath, for God's sake.
He's been back a day or two now. It must be almost time to go again.
It was really strange to wake up this morning with nowhere to drive to. It was really strange. I felt like checking out, and I thought, no, I can't check out of my own house. 2 weeks, Nigel, as Elon Musk would say. 2 weeks. Actually, but to be honest, I'm gonna do another one starting on the 16th of November. But anyway, so there it is.
Has anyone done back-to-back, 2 in a row?
I've thought of that too, James. I've thought of doing a John Sanders, because John Sanders did a double circumnavigation of the world in his yacht, just because just to prove he was more of an idiot than every other maniac that goes around the world. Yeah, that would take as long as this slow lap, so it's possible. But I think it would.
The figure 8, go up Darwin, down Adelaide, and back around the other way.
Yeah, well, what I hope doesn't happen in November is if it rains up north, I might have to do like a figure 9 or I don't know what you'd call it, but probably go anti-clockwise, get to Darwin, and then have to go straight down to Adelaide and then go across if Fitzroy Crossing floods. Because at the crossing at the moment, they're rebuilding the bridge 24/7. So they're literally working day and night. But they've only got like a basic causeway, a very low one. So if there's any substantial water flow, that would just overwhelm that causeway and it would basically cut the Fitzroy Crossing.
Has anybody done a figure 8?
I think well, I sort of did a mini one. If you include Tasmania, I went anti-clockwise.
No, you don't include Tasmania in anything.
I think is Chuck in the room? I think Chuck might be a bit offended, and rightly so. But I did do a miniature figure eight, which was you go to I went anti-clockwise across to Melbourne and Australia mainland, and then did a clockwise run round Tassie. So that's like a miniature figure eight. The problem with figure eight is it's very wasteful because you get to do the centre twice. Like there's no real way. You'd have to try, like you can't go to Alice Springs diagonally, say from the northwest of it, and then go to Burke. I don't know. You'd have to think about it. It'd be a bit hard to do.
Damo's got his hand up.
Damo. Yes, I'm.
Hey Harold, how you going, everyone? Sorry to jump in. I don't think I can stay around for that long tonight. I just want to. Today, the car auto updated to the latest version of software. When I got to work, it told me that there's a software install ready, so I cancelled it, and I thought I'd just wait till I get home tonight on the Wi-Fi. But then when I got into the car after work this afternoon, it had already done, so I updated on the LTE. Is that something bad or?
No. So sometimes
Download on the Wi-Fi.
Sometimes Tesla will push an update to a car. Well, it has said in the past it will only do that if it's an important update with something like safety features that are updating. And also, if you have problems and you call a service center, they can also push it over LTE.
Yeah, but I hadn't had any issues, Harold. And it's never done this before. It's always waited till I've got home and then I started downloading. But today, I don't know what happened.
Well, maybe it was a one-off thing, or maybe it was a safety update. Don't know.
Could be a security update as well.
Yeah, safety or security. They can sometimes push them through LTE.
So don't worry about it. You don't reckon?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Well, it's a bonus demo. It just means they've sent it to you through the GSM network at their expense rather than through your Wi-Fi. That doesn't matter.
Everything's okay with it. When I had I was looking at when I was indicating tonight, the camera was coming up. It's like the camera's way clearer.
Oh yes, I had heard. Yeah, that's right. They have actually altered the post-processing of the image because I guess one thing that most people don't realize is CCTV or digital images, well, they look great to us because it's been pre-processed and the car can do that in many ways. So it's obviously using a slightly nicer algorithm to make it look more aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't help the car in any way. The car doesn't care how it looks per se. But yeah, I have heard that too, Damo, that they've made the images look a little bit nicer.
I was going through the service menu before as well, just trying to sort out my second issue that I'm going to raise. And I noticed that now it's got check cameras or something in the service menu, and then you open that up and you can view the pillar cameras now.
Yeah, I thought you could view all the cameras in service mode. So for anyone that's interested, the way you get into service mode is
not the service, like actual service mode where you get the round border, just in the normal menu, like when you go service and you've got tire pressures and car wash mode, all that stuff. It's popped up in the thing there now. It says view cameras or something. Hang on.
Oh, camera preview.
Camera preview, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And if you open that up, you can view the pillar cameras now through that.
Oh, cool.
Right. Yeah, cool.
But my second issue was every time I'm getting in, I get that data sharing menu, and I've selected them all and submitted the data, submitted it. Probably, it'd have to be 50 times that I've got in the car, and it just keeps popping up every time I go to drive, and I just can't find anywhere to clear it.
You're not the only one, Damo. I heard that online. Today's few people complaining about the same thing. So
yeah, it's been going on now, Pete, for a good, over a month, probably 2 months.
2 months. Oh wow.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. and I just
That's a bit
can't. I
longer than
can't
2
find
weeks.
anywhere in the menu to stop it from happening. Because as far as I can see, all you can do is submit it. Like select. I just select all of them anyway. I don't care. I'm not.
But try
worried
this,
about
Domo,
other stuff.
just in case. Try and next time. When it comes up next time, deselect and say no to all
All
of the
right.
questions,
Okay,
and
I'll
then
go
just
out in a
leave
minute
it,
and try.
and then redo it. So re-enable autopilot, say, and FSD if that's what you've got, and then answer the questions. I think there's one where you can go yes to all. I think you can go
Yeah.
accept all. So
Well,
just
that's what
try
I've been
that.
doing,
So perhaps rather than continuing to keep selecting it all, just deselect all, submit that,
Okay.
and then redo it again. So maybe
Oh.
just in the action of flipping it, it might then stop it. There might just be some weird bug in there.
I'll have a crack.
Otherwise, yeah, just hop on your app and do a service thing and just put that as the problem.
Yeah.
And they might fix it from either Sydney or Fremont, over the air. It might just be a glitch in their setting.
Yep. All right. I'll have a crack, Harold.
Oh, no worries.
Thanks for
Alrighty, you got any other? Paul? Yeah, go, Paul.
On Sunday, I got back from a hike and I got to the car. I was up in the hills, and the screen was black, like it was off, and and then it just had the Tesla T on it, sort of stuff. So I did like a scroll wheel reset and all that once it popped back up. But that was weird. I've just never seen that before. I was wondering if anyone else had that.
I've had something like that a few months ago.
Hey, Paul,
Yeah.
mine did that the other day. Sorry, Harold.
Oh, did it? Oh, cool. Yeah, I've booked it in for a service anyway because I'm coming up to 4 years next Friday. So I thought if it's a warranty thing, I want it logged.
Yeah, look, the problem is sometimes you just get these little glitches from time to time, and there's no real explanation. That sometimes just stuff happens.
Yep.
But yeah, mine resolved itself. It was off for a little while, and then the T logo came on, and I thought it might be locking up, but it actually came good after about 2 minutes on the road.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's some of those sporadic little Easter eggs you get from time to time.
A
Alrighty.
gift from Tesla.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else got any other questions while I try and read some of these comments? Nope. Anyone?
I'll have to lodge a ticket. I think, Harold, I just tried that thing with that data sharing. It's just doing the same thing. Even when I deselect everything and like submit it, as soon as I get back in, everything's selected again. What's popped up again and everything's selected. So
yeah, just do a
time for that
ticket
one,
demo and just tell them what the problem is. You can even, whether you want to take a photo of it or something like that and add that to the comments.
Yeah, we'll do.
It happens.
Yeah.
Happens to me too, Harold. Since
All right,
I bought
Chris.
the car 2 months ago.
Okay, well, I do the same thing. Submit a ticket. So just hop onto your app, go into service, and there's quite a few different menu items. I think there might be one that's called what is it called? I think it's interface or something like that, media control unit. Let's just have a quick look. Service, request service. You've got
Is it internal?
software and autopilot. There you go. So you go software and autopilot, and you can go something like, you can go just other software and autopilot, which is the bottom menu, and you can just describe your concern because just for completeness, you've got software update, touchscreen, features availability, autopilot, cruise control performance, visual display, and navigation.
Sorry.
And just go other software and autopilot.
What was that?
And you can even just take a
Cheers,
photo
thanks.
of the, of that accept screen, and just say that you keep getting it all the time, even though well, in fact, you should only get it once. Once you've decided whichever way you want to go, then that should be it.
Yep.
I was going to say, unless you change profiles, but it would always be if you generate a new profile, it would ask for the new profile. But, or if you turn autopilot on and off, as in the option to display it as a feature. So you know where you're going into the menu setting and you have autopilot, you can actually turn off autopilot
Okay.
offering to work. And every time you turn it back on, it will then re-ask those same questions. In fact, I think one of the questions from the Elon Musk book, actually, Pete, do you know if this is right? Oh, no, Paul, do you know if this is right? Is there a question? Is there one of the questions that says, I accept that the internal camera may be used during a crash to monitor occupants and stuff? Is that in
Used to
there?
be. Used to be. I don't know if it's is that that's under data sharing or something?
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Because,
Right.
or it might be under when you actually tell it to enable autopilot as an option to be able to select.
Yeah, I just did that then and it wasn't that. And they've changed it now.
Hmm.
Shit keeps getting different all the time.
Yes, it
I-
does.
I picked up a car, a new Model Y, for a friend a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, it had the usual data sharing disclaimers that you had to allow. And yeah, I do faintly remember something along the internal camera there as well.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
on,
because
they've moved it
go,
to
Paul.
software data sharing.
As per the chapter in the book where
Walter
where
Isaacson said, Elon Musk.
he said the privacy team is so private I didn't even know they existed. It was quite funny.
That's right, because he was getting frustrated with people claiming that it was the car that crashed, or they were paying full attention, and he was sort of frustrated that, well, if the camera can prove otherwise, that they weren't paying attention, well, they should better use that in their defense. And of course, the privacy person said, well, that's an invasion of privacy and all that sort of stuff. And he said, well, why don't we just warn people that that's what's going to happen if you use that feature? And she goes, oh, yeah, maybe that'll be all right. And that was it. Which actually, speaking of which, that book was really good. All of the 600 pages was definitely worth it. I think there were about 95 to 97 chapters, but they're really bite-sized. And yeah, it's really interesting. I'd recommend anyone get that book and read it. Or even better, go on a road trip and have it read to you by Audible, because that was a great way to go. But some very, very interesting anecdotes about Elon Musk, and just very, very interesting. Alrighty, any other questions or comments?
I've got a quick question. May I come in with a quick question on?
Yes, Jonathan, of course.
Oh, thank you. Associating a mobile phone with a profile. So I've got two phones with a phone key. One of them correctly associates with my profile, Jonathan, but for some weird reason, the other one associates with my wife's profile. And those rubbish compactors that that compact the rubbish. There was a scene in one of the Star Wars movies where they were all being crushed to death, and it feels a little bit like that. Whenever I get in the car, touch the brake with that phone, it squashes the car up for my wife's, profile size, with the seat very close to the windscreen. So how do I fix it that both my phones are associated with my profile?
Okay, you've got to go. Yeah, well, you can go into locks, and then I think when you click on one of the profile, these are the keys. You can then tell it what profile to connect to. So I can't do this live, unfortunately, on this simulator, but if you have your list, so you'd presumably have two of your phones that are keys, and one would be hooked up to your profile, one to your wife's. You then need to click on
That is correct.
you need to click on the other phone, and then I think if you press on this icon, you can select which profile that phone key is connected to.
Okay, well, I tell you what, you talk amongst yourselves and I'll try and do that. So I basically get in the car and go into lock and then see which
Yes.
one it's associated with.
Yes,
All
and
right.
then you change it to your profile so that you should have two phones to the one profile.
Okay, that sounds brilliant. I'll try it and you carry on. I'll let you know if it works.
Might have to
Yeah,
cancel.
fingers crossed.
Might have
Thank
to
you.
delete. You might have to delete it and then add a new phone.
At
It's
gone
worst,
already, yeah.
yes. If and delete it and add it while your profile is up.
Oh,
Yes.
No,
okay.
you can,
So
you can switch
like-
the profile. You
oh, you can
the
switch.
profile.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I
So
was
give
just
it
checking in the car now.
give
All
that a
right, I'll-
whirl.
Yes.
Yeah, no
I
worries,
will
Jonathan.
do. Might
Give
be-
it a try and report back to us. And
Will do.
if it works, let us know. If it doesn't, we'll see you next week. No, only kidding.
Very good.
Um,
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Alrighty. Any other questions? I'm struggling to read. If someone can read the text, and if there's anything that's oh, hang on, I just see a YouTube video that James has put up. Let me just see what that was. Which is always risky when you do stuff live. Oh. Oh, okay. How to use a parcel shelf. James, do you want to
Show.
enlighten us?
No, because he said there's parcel shelf. Like there's lots of dodgy parcel shelves available, but the Tesla one looks pretty good because it's the stiff and it does the magneting together. Whereas a lot of parcel shelves are like floppy cloth and you can't put anything on them. These ones they do say I think 10 kilos you can put on top of them.
Yes, they're actually quite robust.
The genuine one is much, much better. I bought one of the early aftermarket ones, and it's actually scratched my trim on both sides. So, yeah. What he's showing you in that video, you actually have to use quite a bit of force because that magnet is pretty strong.
Yeah.
So he's making it look easy, but when you do that first lift, there's actually a trick. What you can do is grab it with your left hand and just use your right hand from underneath and just sort of shove it up a little bit. And that makes, that makes the whole process a lot easier.
Cool. But it's actually great because I forget who I was talking to, but they attempted to actually buy the parcel shelf as spare parts, and it ended up being really expensive. So the $650 fitted is actually quite reasonable if you've got an old, sort of funny to say, but if you've got an old Model Y that didn't arrive in the latest shipment, you can at least get a parcel shelf.
Did your performance come with the shelf?
Nope. No, so it was only the latest. No, it wasn't the very latest ship. It was the one before that.
Gotcha.
So there was a ship that arrived on the 19th of August, roughly. They all had parcel shelves, and the shipment before then, so I forget when that was, they also had parcel shelves.
So from about the beginning of the financial year, roughly.
Yes. Yeah, approximately. So for any of the cars older than that were delivered before then, they didn't have parcel shelves. So, I mean, to be honest, in my car, I don't know if I'll bother because of the way I use the car, but I certainly liked it when I hired the car in Austria. It was, parcel shelf was great because it just hides stuff away a little bit better. But if you've got something big, you need to take it out. So that can be, it swings and roundabouts.
Do we know how they install it? Because it has obviously the magnet part that sticks out. So I presume they replace the side trims.
Yes,
They
they do.
replaced the C-pillar trims with new trims.
So see here, you see all of this bit of plastic here up to about just underneath this line that entire all the way to the window, that's all one piece, and there's another mirror piece on the other side. And
Perfect.
the way it actually clips in, I actually thought it would be super easy to do it yourself, but you have to actually be quite careful because this top plastic piece has its own kind of like eyelet things where this other bit below clips into it. So you've sort of got multiple clippings, and yeah, it's just going to be easy if you just let service do it. I think, James, you actually put up a YouTube video of a guy doing it.
Don't watch it. That's the service, the Tesla service guy in the US doing it. It's a long video, but for people that want to know how goes on, it shows the whole process.
Today, we're retrofitting the parcel shelf onto our 2021 Tesla Model Y. This as a full kit in the future, offering this.
So you can already see right there, it's kind of scary because it's taken quite a fair bit out. And I think
Tesla, but after what we saw online, honestly, it was pretty involved install, and if they could get it done in under an hour, it seemed worth it. So total with tax and everything, it was $340, and that's here in Massachusetts. So that's how much they quoted us, and that's how much it ended up being at the end.
So yeah, unless you're really game, just don't bother trying to install it. Just give them the money. $650, walk away, get it done. Happy days.
If you haven't put one in, you don't miss it.
Yes.
Just a question on the tungsten carbide coating. Sorry, I got a cold, I can't talk. Tungsten carbide only comes in the gold color as far as I know, or can you get it other colors? That would be a bit of bling, wouldn't it?
Well, okay, I don't know if you can see my ring, but that's a tungsten carbide ring, and it's got that sort of a silvery, chromey color. So it's not a gold ring. It's all
right. Yeah, I'm thinking of the drill bits. You know, the drill bits are normally that gold color. I'm thinking like, wow, that would be a statement.
Yeah. Interesting with this. Interesting with this ring. I've had it for 12 years and longer than that, 15 years or whatever. And nothing. It never gets scratched. I've been using it to move bricks and everything, and all I do is scratch the bricks, and when it scratches, it just wipes off. It's brilliant.
That one too, and it stays round as well. Like all my wedding rings have gone to like squares, but the tungsten one stays round, like you said. It breaks the things around it, not the actual one. But now I have a Tesla ring instead.
Yeah, yes. How's that one? Still going good?
It's delaminating.
That's what I had happen to mine.
And I can't believe Jared hasn't had any comments on our ring discussion.
Oh, I've got plenty of material on rings, I tell you.
Don't get him started, James. Oh, don't wake the sleeping giant.
Yeah, I was just trying to slip under the radar. I thought I was at Beds Plus for a minute because of these people laying in bed. I thought I might have been on a bed shed commercial or something. I wasn't quite sure.
Oh, he's off now.
There you go. Down to one.
I've just done a bit of a Google, and I think it's mostly a gold. Oh no!
So Pete, that shelf that you're looking at what are you thinking with that? You're thinking maybe, Airbnb or something? You can rent out the top part while you're staying in the bottom part. Is that what you're thinking with that shelf?
I could double my leasable space.
That's what I mean. Is that what you're thinking? So
it's like adding a story to your building.
Yeah, it's adding a loft. I was thinking more of a breakfast nook. You can sit up and there's your breakfast. You can have your little food and let it up there.
That's not going to make any money. So
cooker in the corner.
Actually, Ken would probably know this. So Ken, if you recline this, not recline, but the opposite of recline, pull the seats down, the second row of seats down, does the shelf stay where it is? It's not dependent on the seats at all, is it?
No, not at all. No, it's got its own. It's got its own rails that it sits on.
Yeah, I know it's got the rails up the back of the car towards the front of the boot, but what connects it up the back? Is it So it's the same thing, isn't it? It's just magnets on top
Yeah,
of the
it sits on the rails and it's magnetically held in place. So when you recline the seats, you move the seats around, it stays where it is.
Yeah, brilliant. So then you could do exactly what you said, James. You could sit on your seats. Oh well, you could. What's the benefit? What's actually really good is what I really liked about the Model 3 is because the Model 3's got a shelf, and when you sleep in that car, you can just put your iPad on the shelf and you can watch movies. Whereas you couldn't do that with the Model Y, so I had a contraption for that. But now you could just put your do the same thing, put your iPad on top of the shelf.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so Jonathan, you just got 2 phones now, so that looks like it's working then, no? Hello, Jonathan.
The weird thing is they look as if they're the wrong way around to me. It looks like the first phone is linked to the Mary Chris's profile, and the Mary Chris's phone is linked to Jonathan's profile.
Oh, yes. Yes, because you can see the J on the third entry. So you just need to swap them around, Jonathan, then you should be okay.
Ken, what's happened to your muffs? You're going muffless now.
Canless, no cans.
He's got no cans at all. No.
I've got a stealth headset now.
Okay, upgraded.
Mostly because in other meetings people complained about my mic rather than my awesome cans, which are still here. I can still put them on over the top if you like.
Oh, that's better. Yes.
But yeah, more Nova DJ. That's what I thought.
Very good. Guys, just now when you were talking to me, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so that photograph I showed you, yes, Jonathan 2 is, if you like, my new phone, and that's the one that's linked to Mary Chris.
Yes.
Plain old Jonathan is my old phone, which is correctly linked to me.
Yep.
And yeah, for some reason, Mary Chris's phone is linked to my profile. Now, I can't see where to edit those things. If you look at the photograph, there's a little key sign, but you press that, nothing happens. There's a little person sign, but if you press that, nothing happens. And then there is the dustbin sign. And I suppose someone suggested I could put it in the dustbin and start again.
So do that, but make sure that when you actually add the key, that you make sure that it's your profile that you're adding the key to. Or your profile is active at the time of adding. I guess that's probably the safest way. And so if you delete your wife's phone, then when you add it back, make sure you add it while her profile is active. So select her profile. So that's at the top here where it says profile. This is just a generic profile, but it would have either your name or her name. So make sure that her profile is active when you relearn in or re-add her phone.
Got you. Well, I think I'm going to try that. I'll mute myself again because I'm going to grab the other phone to make sure I don't lock myself in the car or set the alarms off when I delete Jonathan 2. But again, I'll let you know what happens.
Excellent. No worries. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments?
I've got a comment, Harold, if no one else has got a question.
Yes, Pete.
So I was watching a video online earlier today, something Richard Cooper would love to watch. It was a guy showing how they assemble the Model Y and the changes that they've made to enable really easy, simple, uncomplicated assembly. It's basically like Lego. Even I could do it, and I've got 2 left hands and 0 talent. And they're basically just so just to give you an idea. So first of all, with the Gigacast things, they're in a U shape, so that the person assembling the car, so let's say it's the front, can come right up. It's got access right there. Everything just fits into place. He doesn't have to hold anything and then screw something in. Everything holds in place. So everything's got mold or something and all the fasteners are all from above. So it's nice and easy so that in the future, a robot may be able to fasten it quite easily. So there was, I think, only about 4 fasteners or screws that had to be done from the side. A lot of screws and fasteners have been removed completely where the things just snap into place. It's quite, and like, for example, where the frunk is, where the bin goes, the guy just grabbed a bit of plastic and he just sort of threw it in, and it can only go one way, and then he threw the other bit on top, and it was amazing. Like, seriously, it looks so simple. And you can see why they can churn out a car every 40 seconds in Shanghai now. Quite incredible.
And sorry, was this the Model Y or was this the Highland Model 3? Model Y?
No, Model Y, yeah.
I've seen it, Pete. It's really good, yeah.
Well,
the guy from Autoline, where he was from, he was in Austin, I think.
He was a Japanese guy, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So that coincides with Elon Musk's algorithm, which he's famous for pressing, which is the best part is no part. You got to delete. You delete. You just keep deleting, and I think one of his theories is if you don't put back 10% of that which you've deleted, then you haven't been deleting enough. And he's changed his attitude to automate last. So let the humans do it, efficiently.
Optimize last as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's right. So if you can reduce, and I know Sandy Munro was big on this too, where he said, the biggest enemy is fasteners and connectors, because they're just sources of failure. So that makes a lot of sense. That every iteration of the car, they just keep reducing fastener counts. There was a part I saw in my car that I pulled apart, and there were actually 2 fasteners missing. They just weren't there. But from the start, like, they intentionally weren't there. There were like 4 holes and only two screws in those 4 holes, which is what Tesla does. Welcome to the from the future, Chuck, all the way from Tassie. And just as well you weren't there when someone disparaged something about Tassie, but I don't even.
I did not.
I'm looking off now. Bye.
That's water over Tassie Devil's back.
I was going to say it's not something you want to be right now, because I'm just looking up the webcam for the mountain here, and
Wellington.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just going to paste it in the chat. Hang on.
And don't tell me it's got snow. I'm going to really really upset if that's got snow.
The snow or fire.
Yeah, it was bushfires on the east coast yesterday, and then snow on the mountain today.
Oh, awesome! I did see. Don't want to brag, but I did see snow. Here we go. I did see snow on Cradle Mountain, so that was a consolation prize. Oh, you're joking! Look at. Whoops. Is that working?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That is snow. Look at that.
I don't think I got a photo of the mountain from my place like this evening before it went dark, but it was about halfway down.
Wow, that's awesome.
which doesn't mean much for those who haven't been here and don't know the size of the mountain compared to the city. But anyway.
Oh yeah, well, it's a kilometre up, and like they say, I think on one of the signboards, for every 100 metres you go up, you reduce air temperature by about 1 degree. So it's about 10 degrees cooler, just automatically.
Yeah, people like to go up there in summer when it's 35 degrees. Problem is they then close the park because of bushfire danger. So what can you do?
Yeah, that's right. I remember going to there's a mountain in Malaysia, and there's a casino and resort at the top of it, and it's at 6,000 feet because it's very mild temperatures. I think it's like mid-20s and a lot drier than the humid conditions below. But cool. But yeah, welcome from the future. Obviously,
Yeah.
you're a lot tireder than I am now. I'm all recovered now, so it's all good.
Yeah, no, I did my big adventure on the weekend. I tried out the Tesla camping, had the mattress in the back, and went and drove up the other end of the state to test my setup for my trip to Perth.
Yep.
Yeah, one thing I did forget on this trip was to bring a pillow, but
So you got a sore neck. So congratulations.
I just wrapped up my jacket really into a big ball, and that kind of did it for the top, for the time. But
Yep.
yeah, it's good to do a few practice runs.
So, with the experience you now have, are you crying yourself to sleep every night, dreading the Nullarbor trip, or are you going, "Oh, I can sleep soundly now because I know it's going to work all right"?
I think it'll be a bit better because when I do the big trip, I'm going to take out the back seat. That'll make it more flat.
Yes.
Whereas for these just one-off trips, I'm just sort of not worried about it.
Now,
But
yep, go on.
it's not getting to sleep in the car, which is the problem. It's maneuvering yourself in and out of the back seat. Well, that's a bit hard with the seat down and everything folded down in position. Because
Yeah,
with the Model
true.
Y, with the Model Y, you would do it from the boot presumably. But
Yes.
yeah, the Model
Yeah,
3 is a
that's
bit more cramped.
that's right. But there is some good news because if you get into any range issues, you can actually, and there's proof of it.
So cool, tow charging.
Almost ran out of range, so we're tow charging it.
Terrible. It goes without saying that in Australia that's probably illegal, but if it's necessary and you're in the middle of nowhere, it does work. And
hopefully it's not the charging will be the issue, but we'll
No.
see. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of which, I mean, look, the good news is, I believe that Southern Cross, probably even Merredin, and I think Coolgardie will be done before November.
Here we go.
And
That's good.
possibly, I think even Norseman.
Oh, this is brilliant. This is just what I wanted to hear.
Yes.
I was hoping maybe one of them will be done by then because at the moment my schedule is on the Sunday night after the expo to drive as far as Northam or somewhere like that, just so I can get to Southern Cross in one go. But if one or more of those has DC charging going by then, that changes everything.
I think you're going to enjoy it because, for example, on PlugShare, this is the latest photo on the 14th of September from Esperance, and
Yep.
I do know that these guys, they're actually from Karratha, so
Sure.
they've actually changed their setup. They had originally planned that where you see the formwork that they were going to do precast solutions and then just truck the whole precast assembly in and crane it in, but it seems they've decided just to concrete in situ. But that was a week ago in Esperance, and suffice to say that all that would have been poured by now, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Chem Power units aren't already in place because these guys do not mess around, and they are also doing the Norseman site. So if you go to Norseman on PlugShare, right here.
Yep.
This is where it's going to be located. I actually took this photo when I was there a while ago.
August.
And it's basically just going to go straight here. This is the new install for the transformer, and I think it's going to be this pillar here. So these two pillars are new, and I think it's going to be this one, and the boxes will just be there at Norseman. And the thing is, because I spoke to the installers that are doing Norseman and Esperance, and they also did Karratha, and they'll be doing Port Hedland, and I think Nanyatara. They did say they were going down to the south the next month or whatever. So this is a couple of months ago when I went up to Broome. So I'm quite confident that Esperance will be done, and also Norseman. And like I said, by November, I'm also confident that Coolgardie, Southern Cross, and probably Merredin will be done by then and commissioned.
No, that's good. That's good because especially Norseman, because I'm going past there 3 times. So
yeah, and that just makes it a breeze, because seriously, if you've got fast DC charging at Norseman, you top up there. Well, I know you're staying in Kalgoorlie anyway, but it just makes it easy, because most cars can get from Southern Cross to Norseman, but if you've got Coolgardie in the middle, then it just becomes too easy.
That's good.
And then I can.
So Harold.
Yes.
Just wondering, have you had any stats on what system uptime has been with the WA EV network for the existing stations?
So Chris, Jonathan's just put up a photo, so it looks.
Yeah. Does that make any sense to you? You can see from the clock at the top that was done quite recently. So what I did was I deleted my profile. You can see from the top that I'm logged in as myself in the car. So I'm sitting in the car and I am Jonathan. But when I added the new phone, Jonathan 2, it's still got Mary Chris as the default profile.
And yet your wife's phone is on your profile.
Yeah, I'm not fiddling with her phone because she's using it at the moment, but yeah, I was just trying to remove. It is weird that I'm on her profile and she's on mine.
And if you click on the person icon, nothing happens.
No, actually, it just said saved. Oh, hang on. I think it's switched it now. It's actually switched it to Jonathan. I'll send you another picture if you like. Yeah, that's absolutely marvelous. Thank you very much.
All right.
Do we have his credit number, Harold?
Sorry, say again, Jared?
Do we have his credit card at all? Jonathan's credit card, have you got his details?
I only strictly take cash or Bitcoin.
Oh, okay.
Or I got a few NFTs that I could sell. Okay, so Chuck, I'm gonna save that for later.
Harold, John Kent's asked a question in chat.
Okay, so hi all. Quick question and discussion around etiquette on PlugShare for newbies. Used Tesla's supercharger for the first time yesterday and today, but using PlugShare to check in, only option seems to be charged. Yes. Could not charge or comment only. What's the unwritten rules or preference from the herd to let people know what's happening? Okay. This is my own personal opinion. This is not the club's opinion. I don't really think the club actually has a firm opinion. PlugShare is a social media platform, basically. So it's crowdsourced. All the information except for a very few icons are placed at the random whim of members of the public. And sometimes, that can even be to the point where someone puts a fast DC charger in a Broome high school just because that's funny and that information isn't accurate. I've seen people, there's a certain gentleman that hangs out at the Riverton Forum shopping centre and thought it was appropriate to put a photo of the back of his head showing a baseball cap which had embroidered or printed on it charging police, because this person takes it upon himself to be a bit like the charging police and chides people for not using PlugShare or inadvertently using the wrong connector because the other one's broken and they're parked in the wrong lane and other things. So sometimes people will approach you and get annoyed if you haven't checked in on PlugShare because they turn up and you're charging and they didn't know about it. Now, I use PlugShare a lot. I don't use PlugShare all the time. I use it when I want to, and I will tell people what I'm doing if that's what I want to do. I do things very religiously as far as if PlugShare says a location is working and I get to it and it's not, then I'll always put up that new information. And the corollary is if I've gone past a place and PlugShare says it's not working and I find it is working, then I'll also post that up. But I do not feel inclined to tell the world what I'm doing every day, unless I'm on a road trip and then I'm like weeing on a tree and, you know, saying I was here. But a lot of the source of people when they get frustrated that you're not using PlugShare enough is usually when they turn up and you're there and they didn't know about it. Now, my instant answer to them, retort to them is, well, what if I got in front of you by say 30 seconds and I just plugged in and was about to check in on PlugShare, you'd still be pissed off that I was here. So, and a lot of time it's always in fact, it's almost always the free charger locations that people get most upset about. And in fact, one little bit of good news is if you go to any of the ChargeFox sites, and well, I don't think there are many EV sites, if any, but I know EV does it as well. ChargeFox now actually shows the live status of those paid for charger locations. So I'll just see if that actually works on if I just check.
ChargeFox even shows the status of free chargers.
Yes. So
while you're doing that, Harold,
so here we go.
That's right. I was going to talk to the second part of the question, which is yes, PlugShare app is somewhat broken at the moment, and there's some debate as to whether that's a bug or a feature that they've changed the mechanism for check-in to you can't actually check in and say how long you're going to be anymore.
Which is a shame. To express my opinion, I kind of agree with Harold. Once again, this is my opinion, not the club's. So if it's a charger on in the country somewhere, then, or in a remote location, then I think it is good etiquette to check in on PlugShare. Reason being is because that charge is most likely going to be used for a road trip. But if you're in a suburban shopping centre where the chargers get used all day, every day, I don't think it's necessary to check in every time. So if I'm at a remote location, if I'm anywhere outside of Perth, I'll usually check in on PlugShare. But if it's a busy charger in a shopping centre, I don't see there to be much point in that.
And superchargers, there's pretty much 0 point.
Oh, superchargers.
The car tells you the status, but also if it's a ChargeFox site. So, for example, I just opened up the Centro car park in Karratha, and you can see here it says Type 2. There's 1 available, and for CCS there are 2 available. This is live-ish status. And if we just go, for example, to the Wellington Street, because I predict there'll be an EQC parked there right now. Oh, look at that, in use. Because 2 plugs, 2 of them are in use because there are some EQCs or Audi e-trons freeloading because they get free juice. And so that's actually live status information. So you don't need someone to plug in to say, check in to say, yes, I'm here, because you can see that status straight away. And that's for a paid site. Actually, I think it might even, if I check out the Bentley Tech Park, no, not that one. It doesn't show up for all stations, but all of the proper, let's call it commercial sites, the fast DC sites, most of them have live status on PlugShare as well as their respective apps. So again, people will get pissed off at you. I mean, sorry, I shouldn't say that. People will get annoyed at you for not checking in. It's purely because they're annoyed that you're there when they wanted to use the free juice, because as far as they're concerned, they're entitled to it and you are an unfair freeloader. whereas they're not.
Not only that, sometimes I've gone to a charger and I'm down to 10% or whatever, and I've still got a way to go. And there's a car charge there. Well, that's fine. He's entitled to. I look on PlugShare and they're not checked in. I've got no idea whether I've got to stay there for 5 minutes or 5 hours.
Yep. Well, something that hurts too, though, Nigel, is, and it's a frustration with PlugShare, is its default dwell time, at least I know on iPhones, is 1 hour.
Yeah.
So that could actually be
no,
misleading. So
the point, Harold, now is that there is no time on the iPhone.
Oh
now.
yeah, well that's
So PlugShare has also undone the only thing that it was useful for.
Yes.
So frankly, as I think I commented on a response to Chuck on the Tokwa Facebook group, it's now made itself completely useless, because the only use that it had was I could let someone know how long I was going to be. So, for example, when I park at Mayfair Street in West Perth, I'll often be there for a couple of hours. So I'll say I'm going to be 2 hours in PlugShare, and people will know. Now you can't do that, so I just don't bother.
And my frustration too is when I was at the Fitzroy Lodge, I couldn't tell people I'm here all night because I can't, for practical reasons. The car takes 5. Well, I turned up empty, so it was like 5.5 hours, and I plugged in at, I don't know, 8 o'clock. So I would be sound asleep by the time it finished charging at 1:30 a.m. or something. But I couldn't. Again, like Ken said, I couldn't say charging now here for 6 hours. So you're right, Ken. PlugShare has, in that sense, rendered itself quite useless for giving timely information, except if it's a commercial ChargeFox location or a charger where you do get live status, live-ish status.
Sorry, Harold. I think I might have an older version of PlugShare, because I checked in quite recently, funnily enough, at a ChargeFox charging station, and it said notes. Do you have any comments to make? And in those comments, I could have put here for 6 hours or something like that.
Was that the ChargeFox app or was that the PlugShare app?
That was the PlugShare app.
Do you have you got an iPhone as well? Because I one thing I heard, and unfortunately I'm only in the iPhone ecosystem, I thought that the app on the Android phones did still have, charging now, and it was only the iPhone app that had reverted to not having that available. But is there anyone in this room that has an Android?
I've never had any problems with checking in, charging now, and it always comes up with an hour, but I change it to whatever I'm going to be.
So if you were to check in now, Nigel, it would say you could say here for another hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then it's an iPhone Android thing. So for whatever reason,
I can still set the time on mine, how long I'm going to be.
On what demo?
On PlugShare on my iPhone.
Have you updated the app?
Oh, don't know. Don't think so.
Harold, Chuck just posted a screenshot in the chat, which is enlightening. It would appear it was indeed a bug.
I just checked in on my one, because I put my charger on PlugShare, and it's letting me set the amount of time.
So if it's a bug, then we should.
I'm going to read something into the valuable feedback they received. But yeah, absolutely on mine. If I go and charge in on the broken UWA charger now, the only options it gives me, it's going to of course block my phone out. The only options it gives me are charge successfully, could not charge, and comment only. There's no ability to set a time. Yeah. So it absolutely is a cock up on their part. So good news, they're going to bring it back. Maybe I'll use it again, but yeah.
And as we speak, it's still not updated. It just says open on my phone, so they haven't done it very quickly.
Oh well,
which is a shame. So yeah, I mean, like Ken originally said, at the moment they've rendered themselves quite impotent, and they've destroyed the most useful part of what PlugShare, one of the most useful parts, which was, hey, I'm going to be here for X time, or ring me or whatever. And that was frustrating too, is because I went to some charges that I didn't know if it was going to keep working. So I had the choice of either saying I have to remember that I charged successfully at the end of the session, or I could do it at the start. But then that's misleading because someone thinks I've been and gone, whereas I'm still here. So anyway, good old PlugShare. It is true, I think, that it's been bought out by Rivian, so maybe there's a deeper reason for that, but who knows?
I think Rivian bought a better route planner.
Yes.
And PlugShare is owned by, is PlugShare EV Go or one of the American charge networks?
Okay. Yeah, that's what
I
right,
think
okay.
I'm not sure.
So is that implying that they needed to buy a better route planner because they couldn't make one of their own? And
yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Or are they trying to get deep information on Tesla's performance? Because with a better route planner, if you are a subscriber, you can get telemetry from your car, which helps the route planning. And one bonus is a better route planner keeps all of your previous routes. So what I'm trying to do, in fact, here's a call out to the community, is I want to do a map of where I've been. And I just can't be bothered doing a big Excel spreadsheet with all the towns and all that guff. I'd like to get all of my routes from a better route planner or the telemetry and then just tell it to turn that into one long route, join them all together. So if anyone knows how to do that, please let me know.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to make a heat map of all people who have done the big lap, because everyone's taken slightly different detours and things like that. I'd like to see a heat map of the 20 or so most traveled Teslas in the country.
Well, here's my
put that one map up and say this is where they can go.
Well, here's my humble opinion. I reckon to be a bona fide lap, it'd be good if you visited every mainland capital city.
Oh, mainland capital city.
Hey, don't whinge, Chuck. I included Tassie this time, so I'm the fool. And hang on, let me see if I can recall correctly. I went to the most southerly point of Tassie, which is how far from you, Chuck? Roughly, a couple hundred k's.
Couple hundred kilometers, I think.
And have you ever been there?
Never been there, no.
And I went to the most westerly point of Tassie, which is probably a couple of hundred k's from you. And have you been there yet? No.
Never been there in my life, not in any car.
You don't want to go on the ferry because they actually have to put a tag on your car in case you cause problems.
I know.
Right.
No.
I'd never been to Strathgordon, which is the big dam in the southwest wilderness. I'd never been there until this year. Living here for 45 years, never been there until this year.
There you go. But so getting back to my humble opinion is a full lap would be ideal if you visit every capital city. So then it just puts it beyond doubt. But I guess you could sort of skip Canberra, and you can either go, if you include Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, and then look, you could go the coastway and go up to Sydney and just not bother with Canberra, and that's still very much a lap. There's also
it's always a good idea to skip Canberra.
Yes, quite.
One thing I can agree on. Yes.
Now, one thing. I mean, I've on all my 3 laps, I've included Townsville, which is up the top here. But I don't think there's any problem with cutting the short route from Brizzy, up to Rockhampton, and going Winton and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. There's nothing really. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. But I think, if you sort of didn't go to Darwin because you thought, you could save 600 Ks and just do a little quickie through Katherine, I think it'd be nice to visit Darwin. But again, that's, there is no committee of rule makers on adjudicating laps, so.
You just get bonus points.
There is an official list, though, on the TOCWA website. It's been well kept.
Yes.
You might be able to I think you put it up last week, Harold.
Yeah, I had to get it from Rob's Twitter.
I'll see.
I'll just see if I can get.
I think Pete has a graph of how many meter maids he talked to on the Gold Coast. You still got that graph, so
But here we go.
It goes like that.
It's around Australia trips in a pure EV, and the latest person to do it is Jeff Giddens, and he's notably done it in a midnight silver Model Y, towing I guess you'd call it a boat trailer, like a kayak trailer.
You've got that web page up a little bit too high. Just pull it down a little bit, just a little bit more. There you go. That's enough. Yeah, that's fine. That's good where it is now.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a record for sleeping in his car.
Yes, that's right. Pete slept in his car for 17 days, non-stop.
Yeah.
No, 16 nights. Yeah.
16 nights. And that's sponsored by Rexona. Great to win that award, Pete.
I think it's also sponsored by Relationships Australia, which say that it's always good to have a break in your relationship to improve it.
That's right.
And Glen 20 was a sponsor as well.
Yeah. There you go.
Dear.
Harold, Christian got his hand up.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Christian.
Yeah, do you know when the Southern Cross will be finished? Because it's been a while now. It's just there. Specific date, or just
No, there's zero specific date. But I believe it'll be done before November.
all right.
So
I think Richard Cooper's got something to say about that. Richard, what were you going to say? No, he's just okay. No, I thought you were going to say something.
All right. So just
so yeah, so I think I think Southern Cross and Coolgardie and maybe Merredin, they'll probably be done in a similar sort of time. So hopefully by about November they should be done, Christian.
Coolgardie, I've never seen one. Coolgardie, where about?
Coolgardie's not big, Christian. It's not hard to find. It's near the it's near the council chambers, the council building. On the left-hand side as you go towards Kalgoorlie. Yep.
Merredin, I saw, is exactly the same place that we want to charge normally for the Merredin.
Basically,
one.
yes. It's right next door. Yeah, it's right. It's right in that zone.
All right.
So that's Merredin, and
I think
Southern
Cross is further along than Coolgardie is. I mean, the gear's all physically there. I'm assuming much like Durian was. It's just waiting for transformers.
Yeah.
No, Southern Cross had the transformers. That's already done. Ken, I've taken photos of it a long time ago.
I will charge my car sometimes. See if that works.
Yeah, because Richo uploaded a photo of the Kempower in place and all of the gear there.
Yes, in Southern Cross. Yes. Yeah. Southern Cross. The thing that wasn't done yet, I think, was the high voltage connection of the transformer to the pole.
Right. And maybe they'll remember to plug the light in at that one.
Quite. The hold up at Coolgardie is basically getting the council to cut into the curb so that you can actually drive your car onto the site, because it's basically kind of dirt. But there was a bit of curb work that had to be done. But like I said, I believe that that's all being done. I'm just going to try and find.
So Coolgardie will be further down than Southern Cross. So Southern Cross will be the first, I guess.
Look, I just don't know. I'm not. I can only give out what is publicly known. Okay, so back in May, I'm just going to highlight. Oh, Paul, and I'll get to you in a sec. Back in May, that was a transformer at Southern Cross.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And without wanting to get too boring with slideshows and stuff, I took this photo on the 20th of August, and basically that's showing it all installed.
And then yesterday, I think about last week, it's just pretty much the same with the fans on it. That's it. No other
Yeah.
move. No other
So,
move.
and
Same.
Coolgardie, what I took on the 20th of August was this, which is all the conduits have been run. There's some HV cable that has to be set up to a power pole. So that has to be they have to connect the transformer to it. And that's the overall site there. That's Coolgardie. And Norseman, we discussed that.
Is
So
that
let
by
me
the
just remove-
hotel, Harold, in Coolgardie? The motel?
No, that's right next to the council chambers. So in fact, where you can see my whoops, it's out of focus. Where you can see my car on the left. Sorry, is that the left or the right? No, there's the left. On the left is that's the main council car park. What they need to do is cut the curb out, because basically, as you can see, as the site goes to the left to the right, you actually charge either side. They're inline bays, a bit like Williams.
I uploaded a link to the plan.
Oh, cool.
A photo.
I'll show that. Yeah, thanks, Ken. So this is from PlugShare.
It is from PlugShare. But yeah,
I think Chuck would have done this probably, because Chuck's a gun at looking at council minutes and stuff. So yeah, so you can see up here. Whoops. They've got to cut the curb here and onto the road, so then it's like a flow through design, and that's something that the council has to do before the site can be properly commissioned. But again, I believe that that's going to be done over the next couple of months, which is going to be awesome. So. And I think that Merredin, it makes sense that Merredin, Southern Cross, and Coolgardie will be done sequentially as a batch.
That's awesome.
So,
Right.
Any word on Kalgoorlie, Harold?
No, don't know. I think I can't even remember when Sandra Jerry was last on from Synergy, just going through some of the more upcoming sites. I don't think she mentioned Kalgoorlie as any time soon. But look, to be honest, Kalgoorlie is really a destination charger location, because if you're transiting from east to west, you don't even go to Kalgoorlie. You just go Coolgardie and go straight towards Southern Cross, or from Southern Cross go through Coolgardie to Norseman. You don't bother going to Kalgoorlie unless you want to stay there for a night, and if you're staying, well, then it doesn't matter. You just charge on the Type 2, So, in my opinion, Kalgoorlie can be a low priority location, because Coolgardie's only 50 k's away, or 40 k's away.
Richard Chapman loves Kalgoorlie. He spends a lot of time there. One of the big
I don't know about a lot, but I did have a good time.
Now, one of the frustrating things is it seems in Kununurra and a couple of other locations, this is... actually, sorry, I'll go... Paul, have you got anything as part of this discussion, or something separate?
No,
and James?
separate.
So, to do with this or something else?
Separate.
Just in case. No? Okay, so this is frustrating that this, you can't really see it properly, but anyway, this is the the PayMate. So this is a product, I think it was built by JetCharge, and this is what you use for credit card authentication rather than using the ChargeFox app or the RFID card. And you can see that it's been basically electrically taped. The brackets the front's electrically taped to the back. And it seems the reason for that is that there's an incompatibility between the main part of the the PayMate and the bracket that's been supplied by them. And that is what's holding up the Kununurra site, the Halls Creek site, and the Warman site. Because I went past all of those three sites, and they were basically all finished except for the paymates. So it seems that whereas in the south we suffer the slowness of Western Power, it seems possibly that in the north we're suffering the slowness of one of the suppliers. But anyway, when it's finished, it'll be awesome. Okay, so sorry, Paul, you first, then James.
Yeah, I just had a question if anyone knew. You know, like how now in America as well as China, they're doing retrofits for the Model 3 trunks, you know, like powered trunks. Are we going to get that soon? Because that'd be cool.
Maybe.
Because I would really like that. And then Leone can stop giving me shit about my car.
Yeah, absolutely. I did see that news item come up, and then I did the proper research to see if it's in Australia, and of course it's not.
No, I keep checking.
I think it's logical that it will come to Australia, but then Tesla's done things to other models of its cars where stuff is available readily in the States and you just can't get it here for love nor money. So I guess the safe answer is probably, but not certainly.
Is that like the shotgun rack? You can't get it here, but you can get it in America.
Yeah, quite.
Right.
In the case of the Model X, it was the 2-inch tow hitch that is just a basic Bosal accessory that is fully compatible with Australia, but Tesla has not bothered to homologate it, which is code for make it, submit a bit of paperwork and just get it done. So you cannot buy a 2-inch tow hitch in Australia for a Model X. And I think there's a few other things. Ken, I think your Model S that you still have, I still don't think you can get the mythical HomeLink upgrade, even though that was on Tesla's website at the time we bought our cars.
You must always just stick these knives in, Harold. But that's correct. The HomeLink is not available on that car. But hey, buy it anyway. It's an awesome car.
Is it for sale, Ken, by any chance?
It's now officially for sale. It's on car sales as of this weekend.
Very good.
So and hey, if someone wants to sell me their long range 3, I'm looking to buy one of those instead.
How much have you got your car on the market for, Ken?
At the moment, 88.5 with full self drive and free supercharging.
What year is it?
2017.
Which variant?
75D. Uncorked.
How many Ks?
That's the question I don't want to answer. 110.
Adequate.
It was going to be. I'll be around in the morning.
Make me an offer. It's a ripper car. I love it. But Sue, I kept it because Sue was going to be driving to Jero pretty regularly, but she's decided she wants something smaller. So I'm trying to basically exchange it for a long range 3, which should be doable.
Free unlimited lifetime supercharging, full self driving, free premium connectivity.
Yeah, do you like my Photoshop work? It's great, isn't it?
It is. Oh, look at that! Oh, that's an old image.
It's the same car.
That was Frio, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Frio, yeah,
it still is.
That's an old image too now because that charger hasn't worked for about 6 months.
Well, that's UW.
Funny that because it's a tritium. Why would it work? Yeah, right. Very nice. Oh, it works on wind energy too.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It's been to Albany for free.
So there you go. Very reasonable. Oh, it's only done 110,000 Ks.
Well, like I said, yeah.
Barely broken it in.
Comment. Free unlimited supercharging.
Are you going to check for my typos now?
Yeah, no, let's not do that. Tesla, unlike... anyway. Actually, the point that Ken makes is true. This Tesla, unlike many later ones, is transferable lifetime or free lifetime supercharging. So, cars bought after Ken's or ordered after Ken ordered his, you get free unlimited lifetime supercharging for the first owner, and then it actually evaporates. So if anyone watching, especially on YouTube, if you do come across Model S's or X's, be very careful when you see something like supercharging written on it. You need to make sure that it's unlimited. Well, you will also get it. That it's transferable. And if you've got any doubt, just ask Tesla. So ask for the VIN and ask Tesla.
One other thing to add to that as well is if anyone, even with one of the free unlimited lifetime supercharging cars, has sold it back to Tesla, if they've sold it on again, they strip it off.
Even in Australia?
I think so.
Along with
don't quote me on that. But...
along with premium connectivity and any autopilot enhancements you've applied.
Have you got lifetime charging?
So say again, Jerry?
Both, yeah.
Yeah, because you bought Harold's, so you've got lifetime charging.
Yes.
On both, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you you get lifetime charging?
But neither of them have ever been sold back to Tesla for them to do that, to then sell it on. Because they're desperate to get rid of anyone that has it.
Yeah, it's free juice.
Yeah, and I'll discuss with Richard later how we hack into the DC bus and we can steal the power out, so he can just go to the supercharger, get free juice, and then power his home for free forever.
Now that we've got the two Powerwalls and the Synergy, cheap power, it's like I consider fuel as free. Like we have the X on an inverted lease. It's not even worth my time working out how much, how many those Ks. I'm just like, what, for the equivalent of 4 cents a kilowatt hour or something. It's just like, not even worth my time.
Yep, absolutely.
Exactly.
Alrighty. Sorry, and James, you've got your hand up patiently. Sorry about that.
No, it's good to listen to that. I was going to butt in with the charging, just don't be a dick. It really is the general rule. Try and think of others. But the day you gave me some shit about, you gave me some hard time about my plans. I put into the chat my plan for the day after I get my Cybertruck, driving from Cape Lewin to Cape York.
Oh, you'd be on hold for that one, James. I'll be getting mine.
No, next one before that's the return trip. Go back.
Oh, sorry, hang on. Let me just go the one before. Yep. Here we go. Ah, yes.
Yep. That's actually Albany, but I've changed it. Obviously, it makes more sense to go from Cape York, Cape Lewin to Cape York. So the guys just done the trip with the Model 3.
Yes.
So we know that Yulara to Laverton can be done.
And so, what's more, you get free charging for the first 10 EVs.
Yeah. So thinking of want to do that, and then obviously down the East Coast, and then from Wilson's Prom go up to One Arm Point in Broome, north of Broome.
Very good.
Via Cameron's Corner. That's the second map.
That'd be amazing.
But my problem is work keeps on trying to take me long service because I've got quite a bit, but I'm trying to save it up for the Cybertruck arrival.
There you go. So you do like an X. You can do an X path.
An X. Yeah.
Actually, so if we just get this map, and let's just resize that one. Actually, what you need to do, James, is do a figure 8. Turn that into a figure 8.
Yeah, obviously you go from Cape York down to Melbourne, do the X up to Darwin, and then from X up to One Arm Point, and then One Arm Point back down the coast.
Oops. Yes. So you can definitely turn that into a figure 8.
Yeah.
Quite easily.
Oh, you've got to do an X. Boys. Like that would get Musk's attention.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I reckon you can straighten a few of those things out depending on the weather. It just depends on whether the roads are open or closed.
So it's only from Alice Springs to Coober Pedy that you're sort of repeating. In that pattern.
I think we can avoid that. There are some tracks through there, but they're all very weather dependent.
Yeah, absolutely. which means you've got to do it mainly in winter or spring or autumn, I guess.
In the dry season.
In the dry season, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that relies on one thing, James.
Yes, it does. It's a one thing.
I mean, if the Cybertruck takes much longer, a lot of this part will be sealed anyway. Bitumen.
Yeah.
So
I'm out of here anyway. Good night, everyone. Good chat.
Good night, Damo. Take care, mate. Good luck with your car and your issues.
Harold. I'll let you know.
No worries.
You can be sure.
Yes, I can be sure. Definitely. No worries. Look forward to it, Damo.
Yeah. The point of interest was Google Maps now does charging, etc., built into the Google Maps. I put a link to that article.
Oh, and I actually, yes, you're right. And apparently Waze, I only learnt this today from a gentleman who was stuck.
Yeah.
Waze
is owned by Google. So they're the same
gotcha.
maps.
So it shows some of them because I took the opportunity to, I obviously arrived home pretty low yesterday and did charge up to about half. And then I went past Curtin Uni and it happened that there was no one there. So I plugged in. And then a gentleman came in a company car. It was a Model 3 or Y, whatever. And he had no charge left. At his workplace, they'd fitted a Fronius Watt Pilot, I think it's called. But unfortunately, the forklift operator smashed into it and killed it. And something else he had didn't work either, so he was kind of stranded. And I said, oh, well, you can charge here and here and here. And he goes, oh, where's that? And I said, oh, just have a look on PlugShare. And he goes, what's that? And I went, oh, get your phone, install PlugShare, blah, blah. And I said, so how did you know where this curtain charger was? And he goes, oh, it's on Waze. So that's how I learnt that there are some chargers on Waze. But anyway, so I ended up having to lend him my cons charger so he could at least charge up on 3-phase at work. But you always learn something new every day. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments?
Hey, Harold.
Go on.
Sorry.
Dawn, how you going?
Yeah, you guys probably don't remember me, but I came on about a year ago.
I do remember you very well.
Oh, so I'm on the Gold Coast
yes.
At Queensland. I finally got my Model 3 beginning of December and absolutely love it. I've just driven it. I'm actually in Adelaide at the moment. I just drove it from Gold Coast to Adelaide and I'm driving back again on the weekend.
And how arduous was that on the Supercharger network, Sean?
It was absolutely fantastic, to be honest. It was easy. Very easy. Roads are great for most of the way. My daughter's learning to drive and she did a bit of that. She also had to sit in the car with me for 2.5 days, so poor thing. But
that's called child abuse, but anyway.
That's it. No, it was
as long as she had the
easy.
internet, as long as her phone still had internet, it's okay.
Exactly. No, it went really well actually. I wasn't even tired when I got here, to be honest. It was the autopilot and everything was very easy. But I do have a question actually. I've talked my mum into buying an electric vehicle.
Yep.
She's 78 and took a bit of convincing. The Model 3, believe it or not, she believes a bit big for her. She wants a cute little car. She's actually bought this car. Do you know?
Oh, the Funky Cat.
Aura.
The Aura Cat.
Aura Funky Cat.
Yeah, it's called a
Funky Cat.
Aura Cat or Funky Cat or something.
Yes.
Sorry, it keeps going blurry because of the blurry screen, but we pick it up tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Tomorrow morning. And I had a bit of a question. Sorry, guys, it's the best I could do. The Aura, couldn't convince her to do the Tesla. But I went to actually took a friend, an old friend, for a drive, let him drive mine tonight, and he wants to buy one. First time he's driven one, so we'll see how we go.
So you mean a Tesla or a
Tesla?
yeah. Yep, very good.
I went to dinner with an old friend tonight and let him drive my car. and he'd never driven one or been in one before. And he goes, "I need one of these."
Yes. Yep.
Sean, make sure you share your referral code with him, and you'll
Yes.
well, he'll get $750 off his
Only
car for 3 months
only
of free enhanced autopilot.
Only
thanks,
for a
Pete.
Y at the moment.
I did tell him that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, he's getting a Model 3. Yes, you're right, Paul.
Yeah.
Sorry,
What's
yes,
different?
it's only on the Model Y, the Model 3, the refresh. There is no incentive with using a referral code, unfortunately.
Okay, I'll go back tomorrow night and convince him to get a Y then. No problem.
Oh, well, actually, Sean, that's actually really important. Look, and I'm not biased. I've owned, a Model X, and my wife's had a Model S, and we now both have Model Ys. And I can hand on heart tell you that for the extra, if it's a standard range, for the extra $5,000, just buy the Model Y. And by the way, don't bother with the long range. Just get a standard range LFP battery pack Model Y. Its drive away price is, well, on the East Coast, it's a bit less than here. It's probably 72-ish, 71, 72.
If that.
If that, roughly. And the difference in driving dynamics of seating position, comfort, convenience of the hatchback, it's chalk and cheese.
And
So
the space.
You don't reckon that's a tricky statement with the 2024 Model 3, which has new suspension and more efficiency and better range.
The Y is hands down the best.
Yeah.
But look, you're sort of right, Ken. I think the frustration. I personally.
Look, I agree with you. I prefer a hatchback. I went from that hatchback to another hatchback, and I would never buy another sedan.
So if we look at dispassionately at the Highland, the enhancements that actually count. So of course, there's a little bit of it's got a better coefficient of friction. So, it's slightly more efficient. The battery pack is not bigger. It has a few kilometers extra range because of its slipperiness. It looks a little bit more aggressive or nicer or whatever. Yes, it's got a screen in the back for kids or passengers in the
Harold,
back.
that's important. That's why my son wants me to trade up to a new one. So he's got the screen.
So
in the back.
So what you do is you buy the Juniper. What you do is you buy the Juniper Model Y next year.
Okay, Zach got one, has it?
You can actually get that screen as an aftermarket accessory.
You can do that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not that dear either.
Is that from Tesla, Pete?
No, not from Tesla. Not a genuine one, just a third party.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it plugs into the
CAN bus.
board. Yeah, CAN bus, exactly. Thanks, Harold. And you can watch Netflix, Disney Plus on it. You can do the aircon. You can, pretty much works as all the features as the Model 3 screen. The other difference is the Model 3 doesn't have stalks. So that
it's lighter.
And I'd actually take that as a negative, just quietly. I think so. Once, if you've seen Bjorn Nyland's videos of the Palladium, I think it was, Model S, he basically said that not having stalks just makes it unfunctional, not fit for purpose around things like roundabouts, because your brain just can't work out which side to press the exit indicator when you get out of the roundabout. Obviously, they do it the opposite side we do, but it's still the same principle. When the steering wheel's upside down, everything's backwards, and your brain is supposed to somehow work that all out without while we've had all our lives to get used to stalks. Yeah. But as Elon Musk says, the best part is no part of it at all, and he's going to teach us how to retrain our brains, no doubt. But
they don't have roundabouts in America anyway, so not a problem for them.
They do.
Three of them.
Just not in California.
Yeah, that's right.
You missed, Harold, the best part of the new 3, which is ventilated seats. I think we talked about
I agree. I
Yeah, we
agree.
talked about this when I was on last time because I had a Touareg that I was getting rid of, and I was going to miss my ventilated seats. And
So
Pete,
Sean,
you told me to cool the car down before I go into it, and yes, that
Yeah.
does work. But
so
I live in
Sean,
Queensland.
can you honestly say that the ventilated seats in your Touareg worked?
Yes, absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, they work.
okay,
They work.
my
They work.
ex
They work in that car.
really can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because in my ex, it was crap. All I could hear was the fan making a lot of noise. But obviously, the only bit
that was one of the many things on the list of things with your ex that wasn't working quite right. I think. I don't know
Well,
who
we
you sold it to.
we shouldn't disparage Richard's ex.
Richard's not there at the moment.
No, he's not.
No, I like the ventilated seats as well, and of course the other killer feature, the RGB lights. You know, so you can pretend you've got an AMG D63.
Yeah.
Which have you noticed?
And of course, having the buttons on the steering wheel means you can drive like a BMW driver because you'll never indicate ever again.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
the perfect combination of AMG and BMW M.
And
Just
they've got more
Queenslander, they don't indicate.
acoustic glass and stuff like that, so it's quieter.
And more speakers with the stereo. And the Cybertruck's got to have RGB lights as well.
Oh shit!
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we've seen that.
And you absolutely will never need to indicate in the Cybertruck. No one will care.
I was going to say that when I'm driving my tank, people will get out of the way. It'll be fine.
That's right.
No
Exactly.
indicator required.
Hey, Harold, I think Sean was actually trying to ask.
I did have.
Oh, sorry.
We all jumped in.
Yes. Sorry, go, Sean.
We got excited.
This show's about entertainment, and that was entertaining. So with the Aura, the question is, I'm sure this is a slick question, but the GWM, I suppose I don't know what they call it, but the wall connector that they offer.
Yes. Yep.
$1,700. Tesla one, $750.
Yes.
Can you use the Tesla one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So buy the brand new Generation 3 wall connector, which is the only one you can buy now from Tesla, and I think you can now actually set it up using the Tesla app, but you don't have to. And when you first install it, it automatically, I think when you power it up, it opens up its Wi-Fi hotspot, and you just hook your phone up to it, and then you program it, and you can tell it to be open to all EVs. So then it will work with the Aura and any other Type 2 EV. So that's absolutely the best thing to do, and that's nothing to do with it being a Tesla. It's just half the price, and probably has more configuration options that you can set it to. It'll do single phase, 3-phase, whatever. So,
and you'll be able to update the firmware with its built-in Wi-Fi, so it might improve over time. In some ways similar to the car.
Awesome. I thought that'd be the case, but I thought I'd just check with you guys.
Yep. Well, it's a good point because in the past there was a time when there was a switch inside the older units where you could select for all EVs or Tesla, and then there was a time in the middle where it was only Tesla, and would not charge non-Tesla EVs. But the current version does, and it represents great value. So
isn't there one caveat? You've got to get an isolation switch. You need an isolation switch with a Tesla, which may be included with other ones.
Yeah, but he's over east, so
it also depends. And James, it also depends. I think if your switchboard
2 meters from the switchboard.
Yeah, so if your switchboard happens to be in the garage anyway,
it is,
and you put the thing right there, and the great thing too, Sean, is you've got it's roughly a 7 or 8 meter cable. So it reaches across like a double garage to either side of the car or any position.
That's it. Yeah, I've got one myself, a Generation 3.
Yep.
And so I'm just going to order it on my account and have it sent to her.
Sean, I would order it sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Yeah. I read today that in the US, the price of it's gone up by $50 US. Okay. So I think it's still $750 here in Australia. But just in case they increase the price, probably go up by $75, $80 Aussie if they follow the US.
Oh, good tip. Thanks, Pete. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
We want to, yeah, there's a good rebate in South Australia at the moment. They're giving them $3,000 and 3 years free registration.
That's good.
For,
Wow.
Mm.
It's 7.3 meters, $750. It's in stock at the moment.
Perfect. We'll do that tomorrow. We're going to pick up the car tomorrow. I have driven it a few times. And I can say it's actually, it's not as powerful as the Tesla, but it feels very Tesla-like. The one pedal driving is not as strong, but it's very solid, very well built. Yeah, so hopefully she loves it.
Is it actual single pedal driving? So do you have to actually have your foot on the brake for the regen to work, or can you just ease off the accelerator for the regen to kick in?
I'm pretty sure that you just ease off the accelerator and it will actually stop. It's not as strong though as the Tesla. Yeah. But it felt very solid. Yeah, it was a nice car. So, and
yeah, absolutely.
I think with all the rebates, it's going to be about $38,000.
Wow,
that's
great
cheaper
value.
than the price of an average car in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your mum's going to love it because no more petrol, none of that palaver.
That's
and
it. Servicing brakes. They do want it serviced every 15, but it's like, I think it's an $80 service or something like that. They're just going to change the wheels around, I suppose.
Well, I in my last lap I did 18,500 Ks, which in an ICE car would have meant that it was already overdue for a service. And in that whole time, if I did take it in for a service, the only thing they would have to do is fill up my wiper wash bottle, which
rotate your tyres.
No, Pete, I rotated my tyres for 18,500 Ks, mate. They've been well and truly rotated. I don't.
Yeah.
They rotate every time he drives it.
Exactly. But I literally got the whole lap, and just now I got the warning that my washer bottle is low, and that's all they would have done on a service. So for $80, Sean, it would have been a rather expensive bottle of demineralized water, and they probably just use tap water anyway.
True.
So wrong.
But yeah, congratulations to your mum. That's really exciting. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with
over
buying
here,
an
but
EV.
she doesn't want to go on the video.
Oh no, that's
She's
totally
sitting
cool.
opposite me.
But it's a good choice.
What's the price of fuel over there? I'm just wondering.
$2.
$2, isn't it?
$2.
Pretty much the same as it.
It's been the same. When I looked around, when I could be bothered, it was always about the low $2. It was sort of two something, and diesel was about up to $2.50. Didn't even look at the Nullarbor because the Nullarbor is always very, very expensive, but just never looked.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty expensive.
She wanted to buy a hybrid Toyota, and I talked her out of it.
Oh, good on you.
You're a good son. You're a good son there,
I know.
Sean.
I'm here for
Friends
After a lot of
don't
money.
let their friends buy hybrids.
Yes.
Yes, you wouldn't wish your worst enemy on a hybrid. It's just
Not
the
now.
worst of both worlds. It's literally you're dragging around something that needs to be serviced every 15,000 Ks with a pathetic battery that, unless you're strictly a city dweller, and then why would you want to have this stale petrol sitting in a tank, that you never use and stuff like that. So yeah, good on you for being a good son and getting your mum to buy the right car.
Thanks, Harold. She heard that.
Very good. Favorite son, no doubt. But yeah, so it's cool. But yeah, Sean, you should take yours for a spin, like take it for a long lap or something.
Around the country?
Yeah, why not?
Well, I took it from Brisbane to Adelaide, and I'm going back again on the weekend. I thought that was pretty good for
take the
me.
long way round.
Yeah. I mean, look,
I have done that.
The reason
Just keep going around, Sean.
I have done it in a petrol car back in the day, but I've got to
the thing is, I went on my lap because I wanted to find whether the Jurien Bay charger was working. I just went the long way because I had to wait till the day before I arrived home for it to be commissioned. So, you know, while I was waiting, I was just doing a bit of sightseeing. So just do it. Just do it.
Okay.
I want to see you. I want to see you at less than number 35.
I'll let the kids know tomorrow that we might take a while longer to get home.
Well, yes, indeed. Yeah. All right. Anyone else got any other questions or comment? I think James has just put up the average price for unleaded, as if we care, but we do. We don't. It's thanks, James. Yeah, it's roughly $2 mark ish.
I put an article up. Apparently, it's going to be $3 by Christmas, they reckon.
Yeah, because the price of crude's touching. They reckon it'll be $100 before too long a barrel, and it's $91 now.
It means we might be the only people driving at Christmas holiday, so heaps of places to stop.
And just look at what the hell. What?
That's
yeah, look at
petrol
Perth.
price. Yeah.
And look at Perth. Look at the ridiculousness of Perth's bloody.
Spikes.
See, if that was the price of milk, there'd be a royal commission, and the ACCC would be onto it, going, you can't rip people off with selling them milk, and making the price go up and down like a heartbeat. It's just, thank God we don't use that stuff anymore.
John's got his hand up.
Oh yes, sorry, John. John on site.
Okay, that chart looked like a Tesla share price study graph. So,
yes, let me bring that back up.
When,
yes, it does actually. Yes, it certainly does.
Is that because
just a question?
Go, John.
Getting back to stalkless driving, would it be feasible if you're so bewildered by the buttons for indicating, you do it by voice control?
No, because you have to press the correct button, which is on the right-hand side, which when you're halfway around the roundabout will be the left-hand button instead of the right-hand button.
The makers of sexy buttons have an accessory you can buy that's a glue-on stalk.
Have you seen there's already aftermarket fitting for stalks?
Yeah, well, there's the sexy button stalk that literally you just, it just sends the appropriate command.
I thought it was the sexy button. I thought it was called the knob, the sexy knob. It wasn't a stalk. Or are they bringing out a sexy stalk?
Yeah, they're bringing out a stalk as well.
Oh my God! So there's got a sexy button, sexy knob, and a sexy stalk.
Yeah.
Every car needs one or two. Oh dear.
Anyway, yes.
This is Tesla's theory. Help the aftermarket places sell more and install more. So
it's a Tesla-led recovery in that all of these second industries are coming up to supply that which Tesla deleted.
Harold, unfortunately, my 78-year-old mother heard all of that. Sexy stalk, sexy knob.
Oh no! Well, sorry, and when I say that, it's
sort of...
there is a thing. It's S3XY because that's the Models S. Model 3, Model X, and Model Y, and the buttons are because Tesla. I mean, one of the things I use the sexy buttons for is the dongle, which connects up to your CAN bus. And that's very technical.
The sexy dongle.
It stops, the sexy dongle, and it stops the automatic wipers and automatic high beams, which is just super annoying for someone like me.
My wipers got stuck on while I was. With all the bugs on the windscreen, and they just kept going.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because if you've got a bug that you can't see because it's where the cameras are, it'll think that it's
I had to pull over and clean it, and I couldn't use the autopilot.
Yeah. So what Sexy Buttons does that works quite well. Although sometimes when you disengage autopilot, it and this will be fixed in a software update. It will then rapidly start wiping, and then you get distracted because you've got to press the end button on the stalk to show the menu, and then you can go to off, you know, where you have auto and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, the sexy buttons, the sexy knob, and the sexy stalk, they're not puns. They're literal products, just with a clever name. But of course, Elon Musk famously said that Ford stole sexy because he wanted to call the Model 3 the Model E.
Yes.
And in fact, the symbol for the Model 3 is 3 horizontal lines, and that's actually the letter E in that font, in the Tesla font. But Ford, even though they'd never produced a Model E, threatened to sue Tesla if they used it. So they had to change it to the Model 3.
Because Elon Musk bargaining power for Max for the Ford to get it back.
He should have, yeah. Well, that's right. He should have actually said, "I want it back," and then rebadged the 3 to an E. Because of course, Elon Musk wants to produce sexy cars, which is the Model S, the Model 3, the Model X, the Model Y, the Cybertruck, the ATV, the Roadster, and the Semi. So then you can have sexy cars as the whole lineup for the models. Because Elon Musk is a 9-year-old that never grew up, as you can read in his 600-page book. Better still get it read to you.
He is listening, Harold. You know that.
He does.
He watches every week.
He does too. Yes. I just wish he'd listen. He doesn't always. I did see a T-shirt that said it was a T-shirt of this big burly bloke that said, "As a male, I can multitask. I can listen, ignore, and forget all at the same time," something like that. So anyway, yes, he does watch, but he's not listening. Any other questions or comments?
Maybe there's an opportunity when Ford want to take FSD that Musk can make a deal to get the E back.
Yeah, I think it's funny. It is true, but I think I did recall somewhere where Ford belatedly has indicated they are going to bring out a Model E, and I think it's going to be electric.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a bit of a shame. I reckon Musk should have just done it and then gone to court, and because those big companies take each other to court all the time, and they just horse trade patents or trademarks, and they do it all the time. So I reckon he should have just done it, and you could always just change it to a 3 later anyway, or whatever. But I think now Ford have actually said they are going to bring out a Model E after all. But
Well, the UAW might fuck it all up.
What's funny is, in America, you've got the right to bear arms, you've got the right to do lots of things. You also got the right, famously, to be poor. And the basic wage in America is really low, but from what I heard from Robbie Maurer, the average UAW worker gets something like $70 an hour, and they want it to go to 110.
Yep, the total cost of a worker with all their benefits thereafter will be over $100 an hour.
US
package.
That's 150 Australian. That's how much lawyers make in Australia. That's insane.
Yep, and it's really surprising. It's because you always thought of the auto workers as being lowish paid. Not. I don't want to disparage them, but it'd be semi-skilled work, I would have thought. But yeah, that's what's apparently happening. And Ford and GM, General Motors, are basically saying that if we gave them what they asked, we would just go bankrupt. And what's that going to achieve? Hey, what it achieves is Tesla will still keep on succeeding, and just means that more of the cars will be built by Tesla sooner than expected. And so what? Tesla wins anyway because they're going to.
It's getting messy. It's getting messy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's but it is what it is, isn't it? Sean, just for the benefit of your mum, this has not been photoshopped. This is the sexy knob. So it's actually a touch screen. So that where it says the 69 degrees, because that's obviously Fahrenheit, that's completely customizable circular screen. So that has, I think you can press on it and you can turn it and it can change lots of different settings. And yeah, that's on pre-sale now. Bullshit. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to press that button. And I really didn't. Sorry, I was pressing the wrong thing on my Stream Deck. Anyway, that was not good. But yeah, thanks, James, for that. Okay. One thing I did see is Tesla's. Let me just bring it up on X. This is a family in. I'm not sure where this was actually. But they basically had their car stuck in an underground car park, and it actually closed.
Oh, smart summon.
And they couldn't get into this compound, so they actually smart summoned it towards them. Oops, sorry.
Baby.
No fucking.
That's it, baby.
No fucking way.
So obviously, just about here, there's either a photoelectric beam or a inductive loop that gives you free exit when you leave. So they actually managed to summon the car towards them, and it got itself out because they couldn't get in because it was all secure.
Oh yeah, that's it, baby.
No fucking.
That's it, baby.
No fucking way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There you go. Sorry about the foul language. But I mean, it obviously didn't go all the way, but it went far enough at least to trigger the beam and get itself out of jail. So yeah. I mean, incidentally, has anyone actually used their smart summon lately or at all? Much?
I used it when we had a free trial.
How did it work for you?
I had an interesting one. I just for fun, I went down to the local Woolworths car park early in the morning when there was no cars down there. I drove forward into a park so that it would have to reverse out. Stood somewhere else in the car park and used it. It drove straight past me down the end of the car park, went around into the next lane, made it about a third of the way up the next lane and stopped and said, "That's as far as I can go." But it was good. It was funny. But,
See, that's why you need ASS or ASS, actual smart summon, because it's not smart at all at the moment.
It wasn't smart, but it was gimmicky. It was fun.
Yeah.
But it literally drove straight past me, and I sort of looked at it and said, "Where are you going? I'm here." And then
you know, you can just lift your finger.
But I wanted to see what it wanted to do.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
When it's like a lot of things, when it works well, it's just magical, but it just doesn't do it right all the time.
No.
And don't even look at the wham bam Tesla cam footage of one that just canes it into a light pole. Well, it was like a sign pole. Live on. Well, they were filming it with a phone camera, and yeah. Anyway, it wasn't pretty, and the guy actually said it was difficult to fill out the insurance form because when they asked who was driving it, it's like,
me,
no one. Oh dear.
I was driving it with my phone.
Yes, that's right. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments? Tesla's share price is sort of pretty much, I don't know, I think it was John said it was it's in like this little trading range of, it just seems to hover at the low, well, the upper half of $250, and it just sits there. But I think Cathy Wood has been interviewed a few times, and she said that her 5-year price target for Tesla, the bear case, was $1,000 a share. Her base case was $1,400 or $1,600 a share, and a bull case was $2,000 a share.
Yeah, her bear case was 1,400.
No, 1,000.
Yeah, bear case 1,400.
Oh, sorry, John. Did you
I
say?
saw one today, 1,400. I saw Cathy Wood one 1,400 today on a video. But depends what year you're talking about.
Yeah, this is 2027, which is 5-ish years.
Okay.
I stand corrected, but
good.
I'm pretty sure the bear was 1,000, the base was 1,400, and the bull was 2,000. But anyway, it's like Stephen Mark Ryan would say in his Aussie lingo. It just doesn't matter what Tesla's just going to make so much money. I think Cathy Wood was predicting. No, Elon Musk in the biography said that he expected that Tesla would be
10 trillion
earning a trillion a year in earnings. And
so I've just looked it up. So this is straight from their report. ARK's price target for Tesla is 2,000 per share in 2027. Our bear and bull cases suggest that Tesla could be valued between 1,400 and 2,500 per share in 2027. Yeah.
$1,400 for worst case. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
That's what's that? About sixfold. Yeah.
Yeah. It's mind blowing. And they're gonna. One thing we heard Elon Musk say was there was going to be another gigafactory announcement at the end of the year, because they need to start doing this. They need to exponentially grow the number of gigafactories, of course, because if they want to get to 20 million cars annual run rate in 7 years' time, they've got to get a wriggle on.
Yep. As you said, Turkey is, what do you call it, the most important candidate for the next gigafactory?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't quite get what he meant by most important, but
yeah.
I just wouldn't have thought them as being a natural fit for an integrated gigafactory. But look, they're in the EU, so notionally, perhaps it's got a labour advantage. But then, I don't know. I'm kind of ignorant.
Sorry, what country were we talking about there?
Turkey.
Turkey's not in the EU.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Or is it in? It's in NATO.
Turkey is sort of half Asia, half Europe, but geographically. But
sorry, maybe it's not.
No, definitely not.
Turkey in.
But it is on the doorstep of the EU.
It's got a customs union with the EU.
Yep.
Um,
It's not part of the single market, I don't think.
Got a
But
customs union. Right, customs union.
Richard, you're talking like someone who's from a country that is in the EU.
No, we start.
Don't get me started.
The country that formerly was the kingdom that formerly was in the EU.
That was one of the big fear things, like, oh, it must leave the EU because Turkey's going to join.
So how'd that work out? Anyway, that's just
yeah, don't give me.
never ask the people what they want. Just give them what they need. Oh dear. Anyway.
Spoken like Steve Jobs.
Yes, with 1/1000th the amount of money that he had. But oh, what was that? In the book there was some guy that when he was young, he asked for Apple, but it wasn't an Apple computer. It was actually Apple shares, and his mother bought him $300 worth of Apple shares, which are now worth $1 million.
Wow.
$300 back in the 80s. $1 million. But anyway, and I think Tesla, I forget how much if you bought $10,000 in the Tesla IPO, that's worth north of $1 million. No, it's all good. It's all good. Best time to buy a Tesla share is today.
Exactly.
So, buy and hold. But that's that. Oops. Sorry, I'm all over the place.
The previous comments were general in nature and shouldn't be taken as personal professional advice. Listeners should seek their own independent assessment from a qualified advisor and not rely on the general nature of information in this program.
Anyway, yeah, actually, so we're getting towards the end of this quarter, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with production because, the Highland thing the upgrades that Shanghai had, I think it was Robbie Mao was actually saying that hasn't had a massive impact on the total production at Shanghai. So, the actual revenue figures for this quarter might not be as bad as a lot of the analysts have thought. And I know a couple of commentators have said, a lot of the short-term traders have gone negative on Tesla because they presume in the short term there's going to be, a reduction in revenue.
It's once again among one of the most shorted stocks on the Nasdaq. Definitely the most shorted stock amongst larger cap stocks.
Yeah, and it's sort of strange how a lot of these people have this religious fervor of they sort of wish that Tesla would go broke or lose value. And they figure that the harder they short it, perhaps it could be a self-fulfilling prophecy. But it kind of just doesn't work that way for Tesla.
Sounds like Bill Gates still has his short.
Yes, and in the book too, they actually described it was a text discussion because Bill Gates had a larger short position which he closed out. He lost $1 billion, but he still had $500 million on a short, and he was having lunch with one of his sons, and I think Bill sent a text to Elon saying, "Hey, I'd really like you to be involved in philanthropy and in his funds." And I think Bill said that he could show Elon half a dozen projects that he had invested $500 million in, and or maybe it was 10 projects he had invested $500 million in. Anyway, Elon, in reply to Bill's solicitation, said, "Do you still have a $500 million short against Tesla?" And in the book, it showed that Bill Gates sort of asked his son, "Well, what should I say?" And his son said, "Just say yes and try and change the subject." So Bill Gates said yes, and then went on to describe something like, "Yeah, but I'd still like you to to invest in philanthropy." And then Elon Musk basically told him to get stuffed, just not doing it. You can't be pro environment and yet short Tesla. Because in Bill Gates' opinion, it's just business to make money. He just did it because he thought he could make money, and he figured that was okay for any purpose, by any means. Whereas I guess Elon Musk has got the opinion of when he invests in a company, he is all in on the mission, and whether it's economically viable to do so or not, he's always full in, and yeah, basically couldn't get past Bill Gates shorting. But yeah, it's really interesting.
Gates
and
is
again,
seen as a muppet
so say again, John.
now. Gates is being seen as a muppet in the whole Tesla community, and that's from Elon as well. He's just a muppet.
Yeah, and it's a shame because Bill Gates is a very intelligent man, and look, and he's done a lot of work. He's trying to cure malaria and a lot of other third world diseases and conditions that things like the pharmaceutical companies just can't be bothered investing in because there's no money in it, no profit in it for them, even though there's a lot of great human suffering that can be stopped. And Bill Gates, single-mindedly, he is doing what he said. He is giving away almost all his wealth and applying it to good reasons. But yeah, investing some of it as a short against Tesla is just not one of the best things that he's done. But
he's lost $1 billion. What would that $1 billion have done for, world, malaria, you name it,
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. But hey, I mean, when you've got 100 billion or whatever he's got, what's 1%?
Put the share calculations into the chat for going to the IPO, and if Kathy Woods comes true, what'll happen by 2027? If you want to make you cry, and it's not financial advice.
Okay, so $10,000 worth of Tesla stock at the IPO of $17, you would have gotten about 588 shares, which today would be worth $163,000. Now that's an annual that's a return of 15.
Is that $100? Did you say?
10,000.
No, that can't be right because $10,000 now be about just under 2 million, something like that.
All right, my calculation.
Yeah, you got to multiply the share by 15. You got to multiply those shares by 15, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
A 5 for 1.
There was a 3 for 1 and a 5 for 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the other way around, a 5 for 1, then a 3 for 1.
Oh, you do. So the 588 shares is actually 15 times.
Splits,
so that's 8,823 at $270 is roughly 2.4 million.
Okay, there we go.
3 million Australian. Yeah.
Yes, 3 million. Oh, well, if you say 10,000 US, or if you say, if you say 10,000 US, which is, so 10,000 US. Back in the IPO, that would have been close to $1 parity because the Australian dollar was at parity with the US for a few years, and that was roughly back in 2010 when they IPO'd, or 2009, 10. So
2.5 million.
2.5. So there you go. So let's say 2.5 million for $10,000, and with Kathy Woods one. $1,000 investment today would be worth 11,000. Yes, that's 11. But wow, yeah,
it's 1,000%, basically.
Yeah.
The average exchange rate in 2010 was 92 cents. So Aussie versus US.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, the just under 2 million that I was talking, that was in US dollars. So yeah, that's about right. 2.5 mil.
Yeah, so of course that's not share trading, that's not share advice or anything, but often if you just go and buy and hold some of these stocks, what did Einstein said?
Compound interest.
The strongest force in nature is compound interest, or something like that. The strongest force in the universe is compound interest. But anyway, But Yeah, I'll just be happy if it gets to fight. Well, it needs to get to $420.69 for our first Tesla party, and then when it gets to 2 times that, we'll have the big party with the sexy cars on stage at the Perth Arena.
Hey Harold, I just don't even want to know what you're going to do when it hits a $10 trillion market cap. You're going to put firecrackers up your ass, or what do you want? I can't even. Well,
He'll have to drive.
I have to hire a frigate or something.
Hang on, what's the share price at 10 trillion, Pete? Is that what's that?
$2,000 or something. Actually, no, it'd be more than that. Well, now it's about 700 billion, and it's about 260. So,
Oh, Pete.
yeah, it'd be just under 3,000, wouldn't it?
Okay, so if we say 3,000, that's US, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and then divide that by how much is it? How much is a rocket flight thing? What's that called? You know? I mean, the Bezos one's cheap. How much is that? That's 400 grand or something, isn't it?
Well, by that time, it might be cheaper.
It could be cheaper. Could be cheaper. I'll tell you what, if it gets to $3,000, I'll buy sexy cars. In gold. No, tungsten carbide. Tungsten carbide coated sexy cars.
You
dear.
see that photo of pretty much everything. The only thing you couldn't see was the ATV on the back of the Semi. Had the S, the 3, the X, the Y, the Cybertruck, and the Roadster.
Yes.
And obviously all on the Semi, but there could have been an ATV in the vault of the Cybertruck. Probably wasn't, but yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so is the Roadster the grey one? No, that's not the Roadster, is it? Which one is the Roadster, Pete? Is it the red one at the? No, that's a model.
Actually, I think the Roadster's missing. Actually,
Yeah, I don't think the Roadster's there, to be honest.
Because I think that's a 3 or a Y, that grey one.
It's still sexy cars without the Roadster. You don't need the R.
It's not sexier.
Cas cars.
So we got Semi. We got Model S, which is
the white one, the second one on the bottom.
That what? That one. That's a Model X. Because
the red one.
The red one's the S.
Okay, so that's S. That's the Y. That's probably a 3. But what's
That's a
that?
3.
What's the grey one underneath it? Is that a Roadster?
That looks like a Y. That's definitely not a Roadster. It looks like a Y.
Yeah, so this is not sexy cars.
No, well, he's just missing the Roadster, but
Sexy Cas.
Yeah.
Sexy Ks.
Yes. Yeah. I did notice the skirts there. That was interesting. They've got, that looks like
aerodynamic skirt.
Aerodynamic sub-skirt, which is really interesting.
Actually, my Volt had one of those, but going the other way, perpendicular to that one, but in a shape like that to try and get the air to go around the car rather than underneath. And every time you go over a speed hump, you'd scrape it. But it didn't matter because it was just made out of pretty thick rubber.
It'd almost be like a squeegee for the road.
Yeah. It was probably about an inch above the road. So you'd never hear it unless you went over a speed hump.
What's got me is look how low the ground clearance is. If there was any uneven ground whatsoever, you'd just scrape. Like,
yeah,
it's obviously designed for freeway use or whatever, where you know the route is super flat.
Got the air suspension on the trailer. That's all it is.
Oh yeah, maybe you can. Well, yeah, true. Maybe you can obviously raise and lower it. Yeah, that's really interesting. It's very low profile.
It's a throwaway comment, but anyway.
Yes, it was. There you go. Cool. All right. Any other last bits? We might as well get used to doing slightly shorter sessions because these really long ones are tiring and arduous on all our YouTubers that only just skip to the first bit and then the last bit, just in case there's something juicy. There's no other bits of news coming up, Pete. I don't think there's anything of note, except for the end of the quarter's coming soon. So obviously there's going to be end of quarter rush.
And Cybertruck deliveries.
So do you think there'll be any this quarter? Like, are they going to dribble just a couple in just to for maybe?
Well, it makes sense so that they can change just the word. You know how they every quarter when they do their shareholder deck, they have a table showing where the products are at which stage. And I think Cybertruck continued to be in development, I think, or something like that. Yep. So yeah, it'd be good if they delivered, at least a couple, a day or two before the end of the quarter, and then they could say, deliveries begun or something like that.
Well, I thought the other thing they could do is if they wanted to make their future financial reports look a bit better, if they claim to have sold or delivered some Cybertrucks this quarter, they could actually start depreciating that plant, which then makes Q3 look artificially bad because they've got almost zero turnover, but a lot of depreciation expense. And perhaps strategically, if they want to make the Q4 results look a bit better, they could just do a bit of depreciation in Q3, which they've always warned was going to be, in their words, a bit crappy because of the Highland development. Plus, it's probably almost certain that they'll be starting to do Highland improvements at Fremont probably next quarter, because otherwise you're going to have an Osborne effect on Model 3 sales, because everyone in America knows what China's producing and knows it's going to come sometime soon.
Yep.
They can't sell any yet because they haven't done the crash testing. They haven't built the crash testing facility. They're doing that right now.
In Shanghai. Oh, sorry. Oh, you mean for the Cybertruck?
Yeah, for the Cybertruck. Won't be long though.
That they have done some tests though. That there are some crash Cybertrucks that are on the back of semis.
So when they have to get that by the national safety, and then they have to get the approval for the individual states. So they only have to get approval in one state to sell it. So probably go to California or Texas and get approval in one place.
It sounds like it will be sometime in October. That would sort of make sense.
Yeah, that Brian from my Tesla weekend said last week of October his mail was for the release. Last week of October, that's what was coming out today on most of the YouTube stuff from my Tesla weekend. That Brian, the little bald guy.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Right.
They teased the video of it being tested, but that wasn't a private facility, and that's just for internal testing before they go to the proper testing. So we got to wait for the proper testing.
So I can't wait to see that video.
They get me really annoyed when it breaks all their testing equipment.
Yeah.
Well, the Model S did exactly that when they did the cabin integrity test, and it literally broke the rig.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Does anyone know if Highland has kicked up the Model 3 sales? Has it actually made any difference?
The what? Sorry, what's kicked it up?
Highland, has that started people buying Model 3s again where they weren't before? Does anybody know?
Well, because they're not counted until delivery, are they? And they won't be delivered to.
You could go by
it's all Europe. There's no
spiked up. One way you could find out is you could Google Trends and see if there's been a spike in Model 3
searches.
I'm too old to do that.
Remember, it would have spiked the orders, but they don't count orders. They count deliveries.
Yeah.
That won't happen until.
Yeah. So the Tesla sales, like for instance, the Australian sales team, they would know how many orders they have for Model 3. But then it all gets distorted because it's such a long time frame, like it's Q1 next year. Yeah, it'll skew both ways. There'll be people that say, yes, I want it because it's new and shiny. But there'll also be people that go, a bit like the Model Ys, well, if I can't get it to next year, I'm not going to order it now. I'll either get something else or I'll wait and see, because they don't want to bear the thought of waiting for 3 or 4 months. So they might wait until they become more available. So it's going to be really hard to tell. When the car looks different, you know, it's completely different to the current model. It's dearer, you know, I think it's $4,500 dearer for the standard range, whereas the long range is only about $1,000 or so dearer. So, and yeah, it's got the nice screen and a few other little bits. I mean, like, for instance, who in their current cars uses their interior highlight lights in the cabin while you're driving at night? Like, I've got mine off. They're not as nice as, you know, the Highland, but they're still, you've still got these little highlight lights. And mine are always off. So, you know, what's the you know, so some of those bling values look nice, but if you don't use it, then it's not going to add value to your purchase.
I just think one missed opportunity was the boot.
Hatchback.
They should have gone the Model S style hatchback, and would have. I think they would have made a big difference.
Yeah, totally agree.
Would have delayed the release though, because it's a major change. They've really not made much changes. That's why they're cranking them out, going to Europe now, and none in China. China can't do them this quarter, so they're all going to Europe.
Yeah,
and it will be Q4 before they're ready.
They're already in showrooms in Italy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
But they also the thing is, they've also not done gigacastings. So you're right, John. The changes are well, they're really cosmetic. They're really just some of the door skins. It's really the skin of the car, and some internal components, but nothing severely structural, because they've still gone to the classic glue and bond and fixings for all of the back assembly. So there's no gigacasting for that, which. Oh, you know what?
It's a middle model refresh, really. It's a mid-model refresh, not a new version.
Yes. Yeah.
But they're still claiming that about 50% of the parts are different from new.
Yep.
So
yeah, but you know, is it new as in brand new, or is it just a revision? Like, you know, if you just changed, you know,
cheaper part.
They're not the motors, they're not the batteries, they're not the chassis, you know, they're not any of the structural components. So those are really the main parts of the car. So
it really seems to be like make it look a little bit different, but maintain the ramp, the speed that they've got of production, not interfere with the current production line. Just different bits putting on.
I think that's or two from the Model S and Model X refresh.
Yeah. So maybe the Mexico plant, if they intend to make Model 3s there, that would be the place where you would implement gigacastings. A little bit like when Europe, Giga Berlin introduced the gigacasting for the Model Y. And then Texas did it too. But I don't think Fremont Ys have got... Oh, they do now. Sorry, they do now with at Fremont.
Only recently, though.
Yes. Well, yeah, recently-ish. Yes, that's right.
But while they're selling everything they can make, you don't want to stop the production line to retool.
Yes.
So they want to add a new production line somewhere, whether it's in an existing factory or whether it's in a new factory. They can take up the slack as they then turn off Shanghai for a week or 2 weeks while they retool.
Exactly.
And in fact, Yeah, and one interesting example of almost the opposite was that Tesla have actually withdrawn the structural battery pack version of the Model Y out of Austin.
Yeah.
And the theory there is because they need the 4680 cells, which
Yeah, the
comprise
Cybertruck.
the structural pack for the Cybertruck. So they're
Cybertruck,
actually
yeah.
reverting back to the non-structural setup at Austin for Model Ys.
Yeah, they really need their battery on board at Austin. Their anode
Yes.
place, they can't produce enough. And they've got LG producing them now.
Yes. And the thing is, a Cybertruck needs a lot of them because, especially the tri-motor version with an 800 kilometer claimed range, that's a lot of energy. That's got to be a couple of hundred kilowatt hours, probably.
Interestingly, I saw the breakup recently. So this wasn't from Tesla. This was reverse engineered from the orders somehow as to the 4 variants of the Cybertruck. And the single motor version was only about 4%. The quad motor was something like 6 or 7, but the bulk of it was in the dual and the tri-motor. It was.
So when you say quad, you can't order a quad motor. That was never.
I think you can in the US. So,
Oh, right.
But it's sort of. Yeah, I don't know if the orders were done, recently. Because I thought the same thing when I saw it. I thought, oh, where are they getting the quad motor numbers from? But
we couldn't order it here. We could just pre-order a Cybertruck. We couldn't say what type at all, could we?
We can't even order a Cybertruck anymore.
No, but when we could, we just said a Cybertruck. We didn't even get to choose which variant.
We did.
Variant.
I went for I actually know people that ordered all 3 different variants.
You could order
to see which one they get.
Yeah, you could order a variant. You just didn't know what price the car would be, but you could lock in the price of $10,100 for the FSD if you wanted that. But
yes, that's right. Yeah, and you see, yeah. So when I ordered mine, I ordered the quad motor, and I selected FSD.
The quad motor. No, you mean
tri-motor. Sorry, apologies. The tri-motor, because at the launch they announced 3 versions: the single motor, dual motor, and the tri-motor, and they had 3 different ranges. I forget what it was. It was 300. The longest one was 500 miles. There was maybe a 400 mile and a 300 mile, something of that order. And you had to buy the tri-motor version to get the 800 mile range, which back in the dark ages of 2019, it's all about range back then, because we had no superchargers anywhere much and no WAEV network. I mean, these days...
And it's a car that you're doing towing with, so...
And you're doing towing, so yeah, that's right. So when you want to tow the Cyber Caravan or whatever, then yeah, you want the 800 kilometer range.
So Harold,
you'll get half.
It was 250 miles for the single motor, 300 miles for the dual motor, and 500 for the tri-motor.
Right, yep.
And they're talking 620 miles for the quad motor. That's 1,000K.
Oh. Well, when you order it in America, all you can do is they say you'll be able to complete your configuration as production nears. So now, when you order, you can't specify anything. You just say.
How do you know which one you ordered? I can't see it on my order.
I haven't.
I think I can still see it on mine. Well, what was the 620 miles for the Roadster?
Yeah, yes. It was 20 for the Roadster as well.
Yeah, 1,000 Ks for the Roadster. And what Franz von Holzhausen said was they actually got 2 100 kilowatt hour packs and double stacked them. So the floor of the Roadster is twice the depth of a Model S. So it's pretty thick. So you're
You
saying
wouldn't necessarily need to do that with the Cybertruck because the floor of the Cybertruck could conceivably be almost double the space of the Roadster.
Oh yes, yeah. So that would be no issue. And with 4680s, yeah, I don't know if they do a double decker 4680s. Although the Cybertruck's fairly long, so they could go the whole. I don't know. It's really interesting, Pete. I'm just trying to log into my Tesla account to see my Cybertruck reservation. Oh, by the way, Pete, did you notice that your Oh no, it's still there. I was going to say, did you notice that your Model X has disappeared, but it still is there. Cybertruck, manage. I can't put share screen on because it's got my reservation number, and that could be bad.
Oh, Harold, you're right. It's gone off my app.
It's gone off the app, but it's still on the website.
Yeah, I can't find it on my app either.
So documents, order agreement. So the order agreement's
no, it's just a contract. Can't see it.
It's just a contract.
Yeah. And it just says you will be notified to complete your Cybertruck configuration as production nears.
Support.
Yeah, okay.
Charging support articles. Oh, that's a bit rude because I do remember it. Ah, no. So James, you go to manage.
Yep.
You go to manage order, and it says. I'm just going to see if I can make this. There we go. This is.
Just going to say thank you and good night, guys. Thank you very much for answering my
Oh, no
questions.
worries, Sean, and thank you for staying up so late.
Hey, it's better here in Adelaide than in Queensland. It's only 12:15.
Oh, that does my head in. Oh man, I can't work out this half-hour thing. It was so confusing. But yeah, thanks for joining us, and look, welcome back anytime. And look, if ever you dare come across the Nullarbor, there's guaranteed free home charging at my place, and I'll even buy you a beer.
I'll take it. I'll take
it. But yeah, thanks for joining us, and welcome back anytime, Sean, whatsoever. And actually, please do let us know how your mum's car goes, and good luck tomorrow.
Okay.
And we'll be really interested in seeing how that Aura Cat goes. It's a hell of a car.
Okay, I'll check back in and let you know. Thank you
No
very
worries.
much.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Sean.
Good
Take care,
night,
mate.
everybody.
Cheers. Good night.
See ya.
Okay, so this is still got the anyway, whatever. It's tri-motor, full self-driving, and you cannot edit design at this time.
Yeah, but have a look at mine. I've just posted mine into the thing. It's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get that info, so it's just there in the chat.
Yep, 2 seconds. Manage order. Yeah, right. When did you order yours, James?
Day one, like literally minutes after the.
Oh wow! So
Really?
you ordered it well before me.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you bought?
All right, I thought I went for at least the dual motor.
Yeah, right.
The
Who wants
tri-motor
a- who
wasn't
wants a
at
single motor
that
truck?
ordering, was it?
Yeah, tri-motor was there,
Was it?
but it's interesting that I can't see anything.
Yeah, whereas mine.
Yeah, it says it says clearly
It says tri-motor all-wheel drive, and then it says full self-driving capability. But I've lost it. It no longer says. Actually, I think I might have actually kept
the confirmation.
the actual confirmation.
That's good.
Which I'm going to, without trying to bore everyone rigid, sort by date modified.
I just did a search for Cybertruck confirmation. No, just says your Cybertruck order number payment, and that was on the 12th of March, 2022.
Sorry, what? 2022? What was in March 2022?
That's when I ordered it, was it?
Oh no. Okay, no. 2022 because the Cybertruck came out in 2019.
Oh, okay. No, that's the difference then. Mine was when they got a real release to Australia to be ordered.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
Because I might not have actually downloaded it. I don't have anything to do with Cybertruck during 2019. All I've got is this, which if you enhance that image, that was from the actual reveal. There's a little bit of Morse code, and in the Morse code, it refers to a section of the movie. It was a very, very deep Easter egg, and it referred to a time code in the movie, which is where one of the characters says, "I see incredible things" or something. I forget exactly what the quote was, but yeah, it was a very cryptic Easter egg in that image. But anyway,
sorry, mine was ordered their first day when they came back online.
Yes.
Yeah.
In which case, and at that time they didn't have any configuration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I think on Tesla's website, in the actual specs, they don't even have specs anymore. So they used to have specs at the bottom, and now they've just deleted all of that. So everything's up in the air as far as what you get. But anyway, it is what it is. On that note, I think it might be a good time to, unless there was something urgently pending, we might call it a night. Pete, how would you, as if I didn't already know, round out? Oops. Sorry, I just got to. Sorry about this. I've just got to make sure I've got all my ducks lined up in a row, and this works smoothly. How would you round out an awesome show like this?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Look forward to seeing you next week on another episode of Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, guys.